Tapped In Media, we're back. What's going on, man?
What's up,
Rojo,
man?
Good to see you.
Late again.
Okay, I deserve that.
You're late.
I deserve that. That's cool. No, you know what? You're right. And you did tell me it was at 10 o'clock, and I left the house thinking, oh, damn, you know what? I'll be on time, like 9:30-ish, right? Nah, dude.
You run on that Mexican time.
I do. It's so bad. And I apologized immediately to our guest and to Andy. Shout out to Andy. He's in the studio with us today, so that's really cool. He wasn't in the last interview, but, so I apologize for that.
It's all good.
You're going to rip on me, and I was ready for it. I was like, yeah, let's go. You should. And
I should. At this point, I should be used to it, right?
Hey, all I know is that he's got the first round on the next.
Yep. That's true.
That's true.
It's true.
It's nice to be back in the studio. Big shout out to our boy Javier. That's what we always do. We got to thank him on our last interview, man. That was cool to talk about good, right? We were in Upland.
Yep.
Our first one, Andy, we missed you out there, man. We had these shrimp tacos that were like crazy.
They're great, man.
So good, man. You got to check it out right here in Upland. That was a really...
Yeah, you definitely got to go and check it out.
That was a cool interview.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, you got to come through, man. It was really cool. We missed you out there, though. This is better, though. I mean, like a little more
being
control.
in the studio, obviously. Yeah,
for sure.
Without the echo.
Yeah.
Because being in a restaurant,
was it that bad though? Was it? I don't think it was that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
All right.
It wasn't that bad.
Well, let's get to it, man. Like as we always do, we got to thank our sponsors, of course, and they helped us out along the way. Delcide Coffee, right? And of course, we want to thank her for helping us out. And you can go on to the website, delcidecoffee.com, and use the promo code TappedInMedia.
TappedIn_media.
Do we have to put the underscore though? She could just put that in there, right?
I mean, that's how it is.
I think we just use it for like. Well, maybe you're right.
That's the promo code. TappedIn_media.
You're right.
Don't fuck it up. Or else they won't get
I already did.
They won't get their discount.
I already did. You're right. Yeah. So go ahead and head on over there, and that'll be really cool. I like the new setup too, Andy. This is really cool, man. And
this setup is actually pretty good, man. I think it's gonna work out even better.
So we also want to thank our other sponsors, Upland Nutrition.
Oh yeah. Make sure you check them out there. Obviously in Upland. Go get your protein shakes. Those are delicious, man. Shout out to them for continuing to.
I'm going to be honest. I have yet to have one.
I know. You haven't gone.
I know. I need to go there with you too, man.
You definitely got to try them out, man. But as you mentioned, shout out to them, man, for sponsoring us. And then also to Andy, SoCal Service Corps for partnering with us now.
That's awesome, right? That's a new sponsor.
That's a big blessing.
Yeah, that's absolutely cool. And he's in the studio and he provides this awesome atmosphere that we're able to do this cool ass recording in. So thanks everybody out there. We appreciate it. Of course, hit us up on our socials at TappedIn_media. That's Instagram. That's actually usually across the board, including on YouTube. And check out a YouTube video.
Well, our YouTube doesn't have the underscore.
It doesn't, right? We're just tapped in media. We nailed it, man. We grabbed it before somebody got us on that one, right? So, and thanks to everybody that does watch the videos and give us feedback. We're starting to get emails. It's kind of cool, and we're like, okay, people are telling us like what they do and they don't like, and we appreciate that. So you can also do that in the comments. And, just go ahead and
where we're not doing well.
Yeah, and thanks for sending us a couple.
Aside from being late.
Yeah, well, that too. I mean, I'm sure we're gonna hit that up, but But let's get into our next guest, man.
So our next guest, from gang life to almost losing his own life, prison, ending up homeless, to getting a second chance at life, and has made the best out of his second chance and making a positive impact, not just for himself, but for his community, for the kids of today. He's been featured on very popular YouTube channels, First We Feast, LA Taco, Unfiltered Stories, and has even taken part in some acting roles. Nice. Please welcome our very own 626 SGV area, George, owner of Pushin Fruits LA.
Yeah, let's go, man.
Welcome. All right.
What's up?
What's going on, my brother?
How's everything?
What's up, bro?
Thank you. Thank you.
Left me hanging.
And the Q in the back there.
Welcome.
Welcome, man. Welcome.
What's up, man?
All right.
The captain behind the
Orale.
wheel, huh?
Yeah, just get in right there. Throw those bad boys on right there, man. I think so you can hear what we're talking about here. All right.
And I meant to say from our very own 626 SGV area.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah, just go ahead and tuck right in that bad boy there. We'll put your mic
Am
up.
I supposed to hear anything in the headphones? Or?
Oh,
You're
you know
supposed
what?
to.
I
Okay.
think so, man.
Not connected.
Oh, man.
Oh, no wonder he's over here with.
Hey, pass the wire, my boy.
That's my bad. Hold on, let's get you something.
I was
here
like,
real fast.
damn, it's definitely sound concealing,
Right?
But I don't know. I don't hear it.
He's like, damn, these headphones are awesome.
Yeah, they're all wireless.
Right?
Dang, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. You can use mine right here, bro. There we go. And then I'll take these bad boys right here. Nice. Thanks, brother.
All right, what left? Okay, we're good. Boom.
We.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
What's
Is that
up?
better?
So
I'm here now.
yeah, finally, man. I know that the last time we tried to get you on, you couldn't make it. Probably
Yeah.
work got in the way, but we appreciate you because he
Oh, yeah.
came from very long ways.
Yeah, bro. You came
So-
from all the way from the other valley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Disneyland.
So you went from
I
the
call
SGV.
I call it Disneyland.
Why
yeah.
Disneyland?
Oh man, because I could be in my front yard watering the grass or chilling and not worry about nothing. It's Disneyland.
Ah,
makes
yeah.
sense.
So yeah,
You get me?
I
That makes
got you.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Totally get
I
what
come
you're
from
coming
the rough. I
Yeah.
come from a rough area, so being where I live now and where I've been for the last 15 years, thankfully, it's Disneyland for me.
That's cool.
For sure.
Yeah, because there's no problems or running into anybody or
Man,
we're just
nah.
awkward situations like
Yeah,
that, right?
I'm sure there's some pockets that there's always some pockets that there's trouble,
Right.
but I try to. These days, I try to avoid those areas and I just stick to myself and just enjoy life, man.
Oh, yeah.
Straight up. Thank you for having me, though.
Oh
Oh,
man,
yeah,
it's
thank
good. I'm,
you,
I'm
man.
glad you
Yeah.
made it, man. And I apologize to him too because we saw him outside real quick. And I was like, "Hey, dude, I'm so sorry." And then when I heard how far you came from, I was like, "What a
Where do you guys
bro!"
come from? Where you come from?
He lives 10 minutes from here.
Yeah.
I live in Bloomington, so
Okay,
that's
yeah.
just past Fontana.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
but
Arrowhead, by the
for-
Arrowhead Hospital.
yeah. Oh no, a little
Pepper?
further in.
Oh,
So like
okay.
2 exits in. But you know that area as well too. Pretty out there.
ran around that area.
Yeah,
for a
man.
while.
Like you're a SoCal guy. That's pretty cool, man.
For
And
sure,
when we
for
saw that SGV 626, obviously him and I, we always talk about it every time that we're and actually Andy too. I don't know how the hell that worked out, but he's also
know,
from
right?
the 626.
That's right.
And then we
Yes.
all just kind of met, and now here we are.
Shout out to the 626.
Hanging out with
Shout out to
George,
the
bro.
626,
Seriously,
man.
Hey,
Trying to rep.
because you said Disneyland, like in like that piece, right? But growing up in like La Puente, right, and like Bassett area, like and it was pretty crazy, right? I mean, you grew up in Ballin Park, you were in La Puente, Andy, and all
And I was in El Monte.
and you were in Monte as well.
Monte.
Like, do you miss ever going back? Do you ever go back to the hood and just kind of see what's up?
Man, I was there yesterday.
No way.
Yeah, I was there
That's
yesterday
crazy.
with like about 50 of my homies. Shout out to Arnold Barboza. He had an amazing event yesterday in the city of El Monte. Actually,
awesome.
in the heart. In
Yeah,
the
shout out to
Klingerman.
that champ.
Yeah, no doubt.
It took place in the Klingerman Apartments, so it's like
Okay.
it's like the El Monte version of the projects, right? And
Oh, the
You know-
Kligerman has 1,000 stories, huh?
yes, sir, yes, sir. And that is the amazing part of where we come from in our barrios, because while we were having that event yesterday, not only was it just a lot of memories going, because I don't promote gang violence, I don't promote gang activities, but what I do promote is being real with yourself and
Right.
with where you come from.
For sure.
And in my story, part of my change came from me being shot 5 times directly for the reason of my hood. So,
5 times, man.
yeah. Man, that was rough. But we'll talk about that later. But the thing is like, even though my life has changed, even though I'm doing positive stuff, that doesn't make me any different from the next homie. So therefore, I don't feel like I have to give it up. You know what I mean? Like, it comes with what it comes with, and I'm prepared for that. But at the same time, I don't promote that, but I do take pride in the barrio that I'm from, because
It's interesting because you had said that even though you're away from that life, most people who tend to go away from it go away from it for good.
Sure.
But you tend to stick around, but for positive reasons, right?
100%.
You stayed, like yesterday, you mentioned that you guys had this big event for the community, giving out. What was it that you guys were giving?
Arnold Barboza shout out to Arnold Barboza, man. That guy's a humble dude, and he's a good dude and a good friend of mine.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Like, he's a local boxer, right? Champion.
Yeah.
Rojo sent me some stuff on that this week, and we would like. I mean, if you'd love to get him on, like we got you on, right?
I could definitely make the connection. That's a good dude. He's humble, like I said.
Yeah.
He's on the rise, and he's getting to where he's been training to be.
That's awesome.
And that's feedback, because it takes work to get to where he's at.
No doubt. That's a lot of
and
work.
it takes work to get to where we're all at on a daily basis.
More about you though, George. I mean, you go out there, help out Barboza, right?
Yeah.
And
So yesterday, he came. We did he had like a whole little what are those called? bobtail trucks.
Oh yeah, the Bob.
Oh, yeah.
full with Gatorades and grocery bags full of groceries for the families. And you know what? It was a blessing to see that, bro, because
I love that.
not too long ago, rest in peace to the homie Daniel. He got killed feet away from where yesterday's event was, you know, and his cross is still there, and his little plaque is still there because he gave his ultimate sacrifice for the hood, you know. But that's the beauty of it about being in a barrio, that there could be tragedy one minute on the same corner, that there could be beautiful things happening.
Everybody coming together.
Yeah, and yesterday that was the perfect example
But
of
we
that.
definitely need more of that, though. You know, especially in these hoods where we need more.
You know, I've done a lot of events, and it feels good to see your own homies that maybe aren't on the right track. You know what I mean? Yet. But you get to see them and their expressions when they're giving back to fellow man. You know what I mean? Not necessarily the homie's mom or so on and so forth, but just another human, you know, and those facial expressions say it all. Yeah. You know, the happiness, the excitement behind the homies that are, you know, tatted on the face and they got the hood all over, but the excitement that they present when they're giving, like that's because
there's that positive interaction.
That's a beautiful thing,
right? And there's that, you know, connection that they've
and
never really had before.
And at the end of the day, it gives a homie a little bit of self-worth.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because it gives them something that they're doing positive, and they're not hiding from it. You know what I mean? It's more of a celebration time.
That's pretty cool. Let's talk a little bit about Pushin Fruits. I mean,
we definitely got to dive into the whole Pushin Fruits.
What's up? Like, give us a little more detail about it, and let us know, like, from your take, Pushin Fruits LA.
Pushin Fruits LA, man. I've had my company, thankfully, for I believe 7 years now.
Nice.
This summer will be 7 years, I believe. And that started all from, just living a life full of not doing such good things, and the whole idea came from, I did my thing, in the not so legal game,
right. And drop right there, but it's crazy how he was on the streets, right? Similar story. Javier, last interview that we did, we talked to Javier at Talk About Good, and he was like a street guy too, like a vendor in an alley in downtown Upland. Yep. And like we love stories like that. I mean, obviously,
was that the where you guys were talking about the
Javier
tacos or something?
Yeah. And he exactly with his daughter cart right in L.A. and just pushing fruits, bro.
The funny thing is that I didn't even know where to post up. So when I bought my cart, the way I got to the cart was I went to the produce district and I found like the youngest little vendor dude and I see some little hip paisa, and I'm like, hey, where can I find a fruit cart? And he was kind of looking at me like, for what?
Yeah,
you're gonna pimp out our people to sell it for you? And I was like, hell no, I'm gonna
get my own
myself, bro. Like, I'm trying to sell fruit. And I had never the only real idea I had behind that was ordering fruit from the frutero. That's the only idea I had. So I would watch how they cut it. I would watch the containers they use, all that, right? And I told my little brother, it's go time, man. I'm gonna buy this fruit cart because I didn't want to sell drugs no more, bro. I just felt uneasy with that,
Of course, man. You were like you said, you wanted something more legit, and you have now put that in the last 7 years in your life, and like that, I'm sure it feels better and easier in life just to kind of go about your business, right?
I stopped doing all that illegal stuff, it's been more than 7 years, but the thing is I was fiending for that money in my pocket,
right?
So I just couldn't figure out. I went years with wondering what I want to do. Do I want to be a barber? My crave was to have that little wad in my pocket, and even though I had a job and all that, the check was different.
Yeah,
but I still needed my hustle money.
There it is, right there. Boom. You're a hustler. I was just about to say that. That hustle mentality was right there, and I got to go get it.
I was itching, bro, and finally I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be a frutero, bro.
Hey,
Like,
that's awesome.
Who gets
Why-
up and
why
just says,
not?
you know what? I'm gonna go push fruits.
Dude, that
I'm gonna go
is.
sell
I
fruits.
love that though. Like sometimes I tell myself,
it's a
I'm
good
gonna go sell
business.
flowers and like make it all like make it a big thing, like on my own flower cart. Like
Yeah.
not even a joke.
Yeah.
Because and it does lead to things like what
my
you're
daughter,
talking about.
That's my daughter's. I have a daughter. One of my daughters. She's in her 20s, and that's her hustle. Is to
What's her
sell
name?
Flowers, Destiny.
Oh, shout out
Shout out
Destiny.
Destiny.
Yeah, she
There
has
you
her
go.
little flower
Really?
set up in the Inland Empire. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So she's
That's-
out here.
She does like the big bouquets with the little golden butterfly in it.
Oh,
and
wow.
all
That is awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, shout out to my daughter. She's a hustler, you know, and it ain't easy.
Her dad is that way too.
I'm a hustler. Right?
We know
You
where she gets it from.
Yeah, no doubt.
Always, I you know,
Hey,
I'll
speaking
sell
of-
you a dream if I can.
Hey, I like that too. Look, he's already trying to hustle us on our own podcast.
Right?
What's up with that, bro? So
But yeah.
talking about parents, though, man. So
Sure.
we know that from what we've put together. Well, Rojo, thanks, Rojo. Shout out to Rojo. That both of your parents were absent, right? So they weren't around much, or what?
So
what
my
is it?
dad, he's
Not,
from
not absent. I'm sorry. I meant that in a negative way. I meant like absent as far as like they had to work a lot.
Sure.
There was a lot of stuff going on. Like
Yep.
not around as much. The hustle.
Yeah, my family life, it was rough. For the first, you know, I think 9 years of my life, my grandma raised me and my sister. I have an older sister. She's like 4 years older than me, and I don't know where my mom was, to be honest with you. I think she was like working on the Marine base in Camp Pendleton. She was a teacher.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So she wasn't like she was around, but she was like gone, you know.
Yeah.
And then from what I remember, like my mom just came one day and she souped up me and my sister and was like, okay, now we're back together, you know. And I was like, what the fuck? All right, I want to go to grandma's house, you know.
Damn. Yeah.
And my dad, so that's when my mom came into our lives. The thing about my mom is she's always been a hustler, you know, and she's always worked, but it was always a trip to me because she would be annihilated the night before, and in the morning she would be ready for work.
You were a part of those experiences, like while growing up, you would see these things, right? Like, of course,
Yeah,
like
100%.
so-
I
yeah.
would see, I would hear, like, even though my door was closed, like
Right.
I could envision what's going on in the living room, you know. And sometimes it was all party, and sometimes it was trauma, you know.
Oh,
and
for sure.
and so my dad was he's a career heroin addict. He came from the Korean War. He was a special operations.
So he's in the military
Yeah,
too.
he was a veteran. He told me some crazy stuff, which I never knocked him for doing what he did, you know, because I'm sure that pain. And shout out to all the veterans out there.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
They go
100%.
they go through the shit,
Yeah.
you know, and I can't even
Absolutely.
imagine it. Like I go through some stuff myself
Yeah.
because of what I've been through.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't imagine it being at that extent. So, anyways,
sure.
yeah. So on you know, and it's just my mom. Shout out to my mom,
Yeah.
bro. Like I love that lady, you know, and I feel for her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because she went through the shit, you know, and which kind of trickled down to us, you know. But I wouldn't change anything.
I like that you're open about it, though. Like, I mean, a lot of people close up on things like that, and they don't want to share stuff like that. And you're sharing your story with us here, and that's exactly what we do on Tapped In. Is we share people's stories that have bloomed to success.
It's given us more of an opportunity to be able to open up about our own life
For sure.
experiences. I mean, I've shared the same similarities as you, where
Yeah.
my mom was a drug addict, meth addict.
Yeah,
My dad was an alcoholic, died of cirrhosis of the liver. So
my dad too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Shout
it's,
out
you
to
know,
So your dad's not around no
No,
more?
my dad's not around. He passed away. Yeah, I missed his last breath by 20 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
That,
sharing that a little, if you don't mind.
Yeah, you know, I always think about that, and I feel like that has a little bit of a reason why me and my sister aren't close, because I kind of hold her liable for that, you know. And it just so happened that my dad was dying. I already knew it's a crazy story how I even came across my dad again after so many years, and I'll share it. I was on a trip coming from Mexico with a few pounds of meth, and my car overheated with my kid's mom and my
man,
and my 2-month-old daughter.
Destiny.
No, her name's Silmara. She's
yes, you know how to do all that because our whole family line were
Sure.
Marines. You know, my grandfather Russell Sr. 25 years, my uncle 10 years, my dad 8 years, my Nino 8 years. So like, you know, it was just one of those lines. So it was almost expected, except my dad was like, nah, you don't have to do this.
Yeah.
Go to school, do something else. It's okay. We all had a different path at the time, but I love that you know, that it didn't matter for like if your dad was in prison or anything like that. He was still your father regardless. And it was like, hey man, the guy tried. And now that we're older, we see those things.
For some reason, I always understood that my dad was sick. You know, even as a kid, because I had a sick mom that I lived with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was always like, man, I don't know why she downs this man so much because she's sick herself. You know, and that would bring me compassion towards my dad. Like my mom would be like, you know, fuck your dad, and I would be
because she's like, I'm the one here dealing with you.
Like, my dad's the best, you know.
Yeah.
And
your dad's not here. I'm dealing with your shit. Like I get that.
And then I got to the age where I was
with
like, to the age where I was like, well, send me with them. Like, the fuck, you don't like me? Then send me on the Greyhound. And guess what? I was on the Greyhound, bro.
No way. Where did you have to go?
She would put me on the Greyhound, and I would go all the way to Calexico.
Wow.
So you were staying out there then,
I was like 12 years old, 13
pretty
years
cool
old.
though.
Yeah, man.
That is pretty cool. I mean, yeah, damn.
I mean, I still remember like when because my dad also did prison time. He was locked up for a while, San Luis Obispo.
Yeah.
And I remember some of the fond things that I do remember is receiving some of these handmade things that they did in jail. I think it was like top ramen.
Yeah,
and they would make
silver.
them. Yeah,
they're like all crossed.
But he would.
It was like origami.
Yeah, like origami, and it was like a frame, and you can put a picture in it.
Yeah.
And that's what he would do. He had a picture inside of himself in it. I was like, so I do remember some of those things.
Yeah, that's bomb, bro. Like, you know, it's tough not having a dad growing up, and
that is tough. There's a lot of people out there that deal with that.
Heck yeah, you know, and it sucks. Like I always think to myself, like if my dad was my full-time dad and he was there, I think I would have been like bomb. Like I'm not saying bomb, but like professional standpoint, I would probably be something like super professional because my dad probably would have got me through school,
right?
You know, versus my mom. I mean, go to school. Yeah, you bet you.
Talking about family, Rojo had brought up a question, and I know your brothers and there's you had mentioned it though to me.
Well, before we get to that part, what ended up getting you involved in the street life? In the gang life?
You know, I blame that on an institutionalization. I was institutionalized when I was 10. My mom dropped me off at a mental facility in the city of Cerritos. It was Charter Oak Hospital.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And because I was a 10-year-old, always telling my mom that I was gonna kill myself. Like I just hated life, you know. And my mom was going through a divorce with my stepdad Skip, which he's no longer here with us either. My brother's dad, and that he was a big positive influence in my life from my standpoint, you know?
Right.
From a kid's standpoint, like he was my dad, kind of, you know. And so when I found out they were getting a divorce, and unfortunately, you know, when there's separations, like there's some bad mouth that comes with it, and my mom would bad mouth him, and I would just kind of think like, man, that's my dad.
Yeah.
You know, like he got me through T-ball, and he bought me my first bike and all that stuff that a dad does, you know.
Dad stuff, hell yeah.
And so when I found out they were getting divorced, like I felt like my world was crumbling, and I was just like, you know what, Mom, I'm gonna kill myself. Like or every time something wouldn't go my way, I would tell her, man, crying or whatever, and I'm gonna kill myself. I hate life.
She dealt with it by taking you to a facility that were like, hey, I don't know, check this kid out because she keeps saying he wants to kill himself, and you know, at 10 years old,
and
that's intense.
Like that's why I don't down her for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because being a mom, I can't imagine my kid telling me that
I mean, how do you accept something like that? I mean, she reacted in the best way that she knew to say, I'm gonna have to take him somewhere to go see somebody because I don't know how to. I mean, there's no book for this, you know.
And she told me, she's like, you know what? It's time for me to take you go to see a counselor, and you need help or whatever. And I was like, whatever. You know, I'm a kid. Yeah, let's go.
Sure,
you know?
why not?
What was your reason though for expressing that.
I just felt like my world sucked, bro. Like she was always, going through it with her addiction, and I would be locked up in my room hearing the fucking chaos in the living room.
Is your mom? She's around.
Yeah, she's alive. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, that's
she's
cool.
chilling.
Is she proud of like your Pushin Fruits LA? She's probably like,
she's super proud of me, bro.
I love it,
and I love her for that, bro, because she never gave up on me.
That's cool.
Even though as a son, like I might have gave up on her a few times, but she never gave up on me. And I love her for that.
I just thought it's interesting just because, as a 10-year-old, you're saying that, because of the fact that you were seeing some of the drama and trauma from your mom, the drug use. And similar to me, where for me, it was like, not only was my mom a drug addict, but she was very verbally and physically abusive. Like she beat the fuck out of us any moment she got. We woke her up, she'd beat the fuck out of us. And when people say like, you probably were just getting, no, it was a beat down, blood coming out sometimes. So, but I never thought of like feeling suicidal or anything like that. It was more of like, I wish somebody would come and just save me.
Yeah.
That's always what I felt. It was
You
more
just
like,
wanted to get your way out of it.
Yeah, like
I'm
save
done.
me, man. Like get me the fuck out of this place.
I think
that's tough.
I think the depression part and the suicidal part, I think that came from my mom.
Yeah.
Because I remember times when I was little, I would drag her out from the middle of the boulevard because she wanted cars to run her over.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Or she would like be verbally and physically abusive towards me because I would hide her keys because she would want to go like drive drunk and hopefully kill herself, and she would say all that shit, and I would throw the keys like behind the TV and, where's my keys? You threw them away, or you put them away. Give them to me, and she'll fuck me up. Like, and I'm like, I don't have them. I don't have them.
No doubt.
And so the depression and the suicidal came from that, I believe, because I was kind of like, I was seeing it, and I would hear her screaming in the living room saying, I don't want to fucking live no more, listening to Bonnie Raitt or listening to Bob Seger, and just she would be going through it in the living room by herself, and.
Was she still doing drugs at the time, or was she trying to get off it?
She, my mom and my little brother and my sister, they're alcoholics. And my mom, I think she was dabbling into like the crank or the speed or something. Like something, there was something going on, you know, and fools would come to the pad. And if my mom didn't have it, they were for sure bringing it, because it would be like
party time.
I would hear the stages of partying from my room. Like, chill. And then a little bit louder.
People getting high.
Couple F-bombs.
Yeah,
and then,
here we go.
And then who are you talking to like that? And then my mom fucking these fools up, bro. And they're yelling like, Diane,
damn.
stop. And fuck you, get the fuck out of my house. And it was just like, and then fighting and breaking shit or just having full-blown sex in the living room and loud as fuck. Like there was no kids in the house.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was just like crazy, dog. And I was just, like... Fuck, like
I can't do this, yeah.
And my mom, she we're gonna go take you counselor, blah blah blah. And I said okay, and we went to the counselor's office one day, and it was Charter Oak Hospital, and the counselor showed me to the cafeteria, like, oh, I'm gonna talk to your mom for a little bit, meanwhile you grub, and it was bomb ass cafeteria style. I had like a chicken thigh and some mashed potatoes, like a turkey dinner type of thing, Thanksgiving dinner type of thing. And when I was done with my food, I went back and my mom was gone. Damn. And I told the lady, like, where's my mom at? And she's like, she gave me like one of the little, well, we got some things to work on with you, And I was like, what do you mean?
You were there. They got you.
I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, yeah, let me go show you around, and
let me go show you your room.
Dude,
no,
yeah.
No, really?
Yeah.
Like you're like,
I was lockdown facility. Yeah.
Oh, it was a lockdown facility.
It's an inpatient facility.
It's inpatient facility.
Yeah.
How long were you there for?
2 years.
Woo.
Yeah.
2 years?
I was at that facility.
It's a long time.
And then I went to Delamo Medical Center after that. Yeah.
Do you and your mom talk about that now, today? Or is it just one of those things that's like,
we don't talk about it. Shout out to my mom. I love her so much. Like, she's changed. She's, unfortunately, she's alone. In her little studio, her little elder, 55 and over.
Does she still battle with that suicidal thoughts?
I believe so.
Yeah.
We don't really talk about it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I felt she was kind of losing it was she barricaded herself in her apartment like the LAPD and the fire department and this and that, and she was just she was having a breakdown, you know, and
that is tough, man.
Can I chime in?
Yeah,
man, of course, Andy. There you are.
You know, listening to your story, I think about my story.
Yeah.
And just like, you know, some of us have experienced these things. Now, my mom, she had me at 18, 17, 18, and she took her life a month after I was born, you know. And so when I hear that, I think, man, if she would have lived, because she was had a lot of trauma, was going through things in her life, I could imagine that my life my childhood may have been something like yours.
Yeah.
You know?
No doubt.
Yeah,
man. That's kind of a reality check, bro. Like I never seen it like that, you know. And shout out to your mom, bro, for being your angel all your life. You know what I mean? Because some moms aren't always so sweet.
That's a great way of looking at that, man. Like you're your angel or somebody that's over your shoulder.
Right.
Oh, for sure. I believe that.
And I believe that she's been over my shoulder. My dad also took his life. So, but they were both in, you know, Puente at the time, Bridgetown, you know, and experiencing that type of life in the 70s.
Were they like into drugs and shit too? Or?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. You know, but you think the 70s, more like Yesca, you know,
PCP,
but not really too much of any of that as I'm aware of. But
you know, God bless your parents, bro, because
my aunt and uncle took me in and raised me.
That's right. Your tío and tía came through.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know?
That's beautiful, bro.
We did a great interview with with him, and you got to go check it out. Andy Q. Okay. That was a couple interviews ago, like 2 interviews ago, right?
2 interviews ago.
And his story was pretty intense for us too, and we've been working with him now for since like last year, right? You know, and just to hear, you know, all your guys' stuff that comes around, you know,
bro, it happens.
Yeah.
Like I tell the homies yesterday, they were like, "Damn, bro, your story's crazy," you know, and I'm like, you know what? We all have a crazy story.
Yeah. No doubt. That's why.
That's kind of I've been having this thought about doing maybe one day like a men's roundtable.
Yeah, I think we're doing it now, bro.
I think, it's more about like hearing his life and how he was able to change it.
I feel that. Yeah.
Whereas this is more of just like really sharing some of our most dramatic and traumatic type of experiences growing up, because men don't have that space for the most part.
Yeah.
So it'd be very welcoming to bring in men to just share their shit, you know?
Absolutely.
I facilitated a roundtable for youth at the Boyle Heights Youth Tech Center, and it's a trip, bro, to have a group of people that you don't know share their story. And how everybody kind of piggybacks on what
like you went through that, I did that too. Yeah,
bro,
exactly. That's why I always find common ground with a lot of our guests, because I'm like, you same thing with me.
For sure.
Damn, you were fucked up. Yes, so was I. And you know what? Shout out to our angels, bro. Like going back to that, I think about
big.
I cherish my angels. You know, my grandma, which is on this side, and my dad, that's on this side, because I really feel like they help navigate my life through this life.
Absolutely.
Like I get a little bit, that chokes me up a little bit, because I feel like without my guardian angels, bro, like I wouldn't be here right now. That's
for sure.
And that's recent.
Yeah.
Like a couple years ago, like my guardian angel saved my life, bro.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful thing.
How?
You got a purpose.
Some dude shot at me point blank range with the 45 to my face.
So I saw that.
Okay.
I was going to ask you that.
Dog.
And missed?
That is crazy.
Where were you at? Like during?
I was at a family party.
No way.
Yeah.
Where? In what city?
Granada Hills.
No way. I thought it was Disneyland. I'm totally misled
the
now.
family was not from there.
Not from Disneyland.
The deal
got you.
there, but if it wasn't like I when after that happened, bro, like, the next day I was on tactical alert for like a week, bro.
Damn.
Because
tactical alert, high alert,
everything.
That was probably the closest.
Right.
That was probably
It's wild.
I just posted that like last week, I think, on my Instagram.
Yeah, no, that's why I saw that, and I was gonna ask you about that. I'm like, did somebody really just point the gun at you point blank and missed? Like,
bro, and the craziest thing was it was for like I didn't even know this kid, you know, and I'm not gonna go too much into it because that shit's like still like a family issue.
That's insane.
Which and I don't really care, but it was insane, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and after that happened, I really, and this was maybe like 4 years ago, and I just thanked my grandma, I thanked my dad, and I thank God, bro, because it wasn't my time, and that was probably closer than when I got shot 5 times to dying. Like to see someone's eyes, bro, like
I've never. I mean,
crazy.
I've encountered like something like that as well, but not point blank where like somebody pulling a gun on you and things like that. I'm sure we I think we've all probably encountered that at one time or in our lives, right? I don't know. Bro, have you? I don't remember yet. No,
not near death,
but not like the point
bro,
blank.
Like,
that's crazy,
like
dude.
It was probably from here to the camera, the barrel of the gun. I was staring at the camera like, and I told him like, pull it, bro. Like, I'm ready. I said, I don't think you will, but if you're ready, like, pull it. And I put my head to the barrel, and my girl's little cousin, he was there, and he was just like, what the? That was his brother-in-law, and he's like, what's going on? And I just switched, bro. Like,
you guys didn't even know each other? Nothing, huh? No history, huh?
I think the part of, coming close to death so many times is like, I ain't scared. Like, I'll tell you one thing. When I was dying, when I got shot 5 times, that was probably the best high of my life. Like, when I was dying, like, it felt so good, bro. It felt so peaceful.
You know what?
That is so weird to hear, honestly.
That is weird to hear because I wasn't, when I was fighting, man. I was in the fight mode at that point. Like, for myself, because I was stabbed 3 times. We talked about this right before, and left for dead too. Like, and we talked about it. I've talked about it with these guys a couple times, and I was in a automatic survival fight mode, and but I was a teenager. You know what I mean? Like at the time,
I feel you, bro. I'm fighting.
You have a broken finger like that?
Oh my, done. Yeah, there we go.
Oh wow,
the Hook brothers.
I got one too.
The Hook brothers.
Damn, but you go in like automatic like defense mode, so you just and I understand about the high, but like I think it's just that adrenaline rush because you're just trying to live and not check out. You know what I mean?
In this case, bro, like I get you. That's how I felt when I got shot 5 times. Like I was in fight mode. Like there was no way I was gonna be taken
I ain't down
out,
like this.
And we're left in the middle of the desert for 3 hours, and thankfully I made it. So,
your story, that story that happened in Baker,
California,
and of all places in Baker, he runs into rivals, right?
Yeah.
In the middle of the desert.
Yeah, it was 11 carloads of rivals.
11 carloads?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, 11 carloads.
There was like people that saw that what happened, and they said that we got jumped by like 25 dudes before they shot us.
Is that where you lost your brother?
Yeah. He was dead next to me for like 3 hours until the helicopter picked me up.
Oh man.
So and I was in fight mode, bro.
Okay, of course. Now, opening that story right
and
there.
he only got shot once?
Once. Yeah.
And you got shot 5 times.
So your brother,
with a 40,
that's insane.
With hollow tips with a 40, bro.
Wow.
Like a cannon.
In Baker, your brother and you were shot. Was anybody else shot at that time too?
No,
or was it just
me and him?
Man.
So it was just, wrong place at the wrong time. And yeah, we're in the middle of nowhere, bro. Like where the thermometer is when you drive to Las
I know exactly where that is.
It happened in front of in the front. I was laying in the front, blocking the front door of the Arco, the AMPM, right? That's right next door. And man,
talk about not your time. You know what I mean?
Time,
exactly.
I mean, honestly, like that is
I remember
that is intense.
I remember everything from like if it was yesterday, from the beginning,
the
song we were singing in the car to literally like 3 minutes later, like just hail of bullets, bro. Like 18 rounds, I think they shot.
Do you know what gang this was?
Yeah, of course I do. But that's I talk about my story and I talk about what happened, but I only go to a certain point because
right.
I'm still from where I'm from, and it was a direct.
And a lot of that's your past, and you don't want to like keep digging.
I just keep that in my pocket.
Yeah,
I've forgiven.
For sure.
I've forgiven. Like there was many years where I just hated these people.
Of course.
But I'm a big believer in karma. I'm a big believer in God. And at the end of the day, like I feel like if that wouldn't, and you know what, and this is with all due respect to my brother's kids, because they lost their dad ultimately. But in my case, like,
what was your brother's name, brother?
Omar Prado. They
Omar
call
Prado.
him, yeah, they call him Gato. He was from Monteflores as well. And he was a big
crazy.
inspiration for me, bro. He was, and not in the street way, but in the father way. Like,
Right.
he was a bomb dad, you know. And I feel, and that's one thing I feel so bad about his loss is because his kids didn't deserve that.
Of course
and,
not.
And
That's on some real coward
Yeah.
shit though, bro.
Yeah,
Like for those
I-
25 guys and like to, you know, honestly, like you lose your brother, you guys are stuck in the middle of the desert. They have to airlift you out of there. I mean, it just, we've all been through near Baker. We've all seen that area, and I just can picture in my head right now, like, you know, that specific area and what happened. Now, when I go through Baker, and probably somebody that watches this or sees this or hears this story will never forget an instance that you've heard that, you know, where you've lost somebody extremely close to you, you know, and you've almost lost your life.
You know what? I get messages sometimes, bro, when people are going through there and they're like, "Hey, we just drank a beer for your brother," you know. And and I go through there as many times as I can. Like when I worked for NASA, we had an offsite facility in Vegas, and they would send me out there a lot. And probably the most therapeutic times of my life is sitting in that parking lot, you know, because shit, my life changed in that parking lot.
Absolutely.
You know, and dang, I don't
Heavy duty, huh?
Yeah.
I don't really talk about like how much of an effect that had on me. You know, I talk about my story.
Yeah.
I talk about what went down because that's what people want to hear. You know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
like
Well-
my life was lost that day too. You know what
course.
I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like,
It's your
I
brother.
never
Absolutely, man. I
never got that back.
I
But-
commend you for being strong about this and talking about it, and you know, not only that too, man. Like you pushed yourself out of that whole lifestyle, and your hustle is like, you know, crazy. You know, we're talking to you about, you know, Pushin Fruits LA,
Yeah,
and then
all around, just the
Oh,
fact
yeah.
how you were able to change
Just
your
change-
whole
exactly,
life
dude.
around. You could have easily
Completely.
held on to that anger.
oh
you
yeah,
know, that resentment,
and then like been
wanting to be
retaliating.
vengeful. Yeah,
Yeah, you know what?
Chime in also.
Yeah.
I hold that anger in me, bro.
Of
You still
course.
hold it
These ain't tears of like why me.
Oh yeah,
You know,
for sure.
These
No,
are
yeah.
tears of like his kids didn't deserve
Yeah.
Of
him,
course.
you know, him to be gone, because honestly that dude was the dude that would push me to see my kids.
Hell yeah.
And I would be like, nah, bro, like they'll be there tomorrow, you know.
Very inspirational.
And the dude, I mean, we lost our life to being what we believed in, bro. And
Yeah.
we're just gangsters, dog.
Mhm.
You know, and I don't wish that upon anybody, but and that's what I tell the youngsters today is like, if you ain't ready to be in a dogfight for your life,
Yeah.
it's either you or him because of a gang, like then this is not for you, bro.
Yep.
Right.
Like I take that to heart because like you said, bro, I was in fight mode.
Yeah.
For probably 17 hours, bro. From the time I got shot to the time I came out of surgery, I was fighting for my life.
Absolutely, because every breath mattered, and then you're already knowing psychologically you're there. What just happened,
Bro.
to your brother?
When-
And it's like, man.
When I tell you how peaceful it was, like I knew he was dead, you know, because I saw when the highway patrol came, like almost 2 hours later, that one highway patrol showed up, and when he flipped him over and his arm was already stiff, and I seen that, bro. Like, no wonder he wasn't turning around when I was calling him. You know what I'm saying? The poor guy lost his fucking life, dog.
No
you
doubt.
know? And
and meanwhile, you got 5 bullets in you.
bro,
Yeah.
I the only thing that kept me awake was the pain of my limbs, my bones scraping together, bro. Like when I tell you how peaceful it was when I was dying, bro. I got shot in my ankle, my knee, my arm, and twice in my stomach. And I just wanted to fucking take a nap, bro.
Yeah, you want to go to sleep.
Like
Yeah.
like the firefighters, they were telling me like, do not fall asleep, man. Like stay awake, and they kept bothering me, you know what I mean? And I would look up at him, and the dude was like he was straddling me on the gurney while they were rushing me from one end of the gas station to the helicopter that's parked on the other side of the gas station. and he's full on like I'm looking up at him,
and
he's like reaching back and just slapping me, boom, and I would.
Wow.
You know what, man? It's and I don't mean to interrupt, but that it's crazy that you bring up like I wanted to go to sleep and I wanted to take a nap. I felt the same exact way.
Yeah,
and if he would have took that nap, bro, that's it.
I thought I've never ever.
I've always heard those stories of people who have gone through that kind of drama or trauma as far as like almost losing their lives. It's like all I wanted to do was just take a nap.
Bro, I smoked like I felt like I smoked like the fattest blunt of the most strongest weed ever in the world.
And you're like, I just want to sleep it off.
My head felt so heavy, bro. I was just like, and the dude was slapping me, and I would look up at him, and he had like all his pilot gear on, the big old visor and all that shit. And
when the guy was driving me to the Queen of the Valley, right here in West Covina, right? Because I got stabbed in Bassett. Yeah. And when I was going to Queen of the Valley, one of the driver was keeping me awake too. I'm just listening to what you're saying, and I'm like, oh my God, I know.
It's taking you back to
It's taking me back to where when
you're
my
dying, bro.
Yeah, and you're like, I'm just gonna take a nap. I'm cool. I'm gonna sleep this off, and then they're like, boom, the fuck you in. Like, wake up, man.
Nap. Yeah, that would have been your last.
That would have been it. I would have been. That's insane, man.
But
your story is way more tragic. But
like, what scared me was when I was almost getting to the helicopter and the propeller was going slow motion, and then all of a sudden I couldn't hear nothing. Like my hearing, like I was looking at the firefighter and he's like, and and I look at the propeller and it's like
they were starting to sedate you. They were starting the process.
And I was like
sedation.
And then so as soon as that was happening, like I felt like I was fading away.
Yeah.
But it felt so good. Damn. And then boom, they crashed my leg into the chopper door.
Oh, damn!
And my leg was severed, bro. Like from the round that just severed all my bones. So my foot was just hanging on by skin.
Wow.
So you're already shot, 5 wounds in you, and now you got a freaking leg problem, and which you didn't.
No, but that woke me up because I was fading. But the pain from my ankle rubbed my bone, my femur, and so my femur got severed, and my tibula, my fibula, they were severed because it was a hollow point round. So the hollow
That's wild, man.
The hollow point round just blew everything.
Yeah, you came in walking fine.
Yeah,
bro. Thank
You're
God,
not paralyzed.
Yeah,
bro, you're not missing the limb.
I thank God every day, dog, because
that
was the first thing the doctor told me when I woke up.
Yeah,
he's like, "You want the good news or you want the bad news?"
You would have been pushing Fruits LA.
They would have been pushing me. They would have been pushing me around,
it's
bro.
True.
And the doctor was like, I got good news and I got bad news. And he's like, which one you want first? And I was like, what's the bad news? He's like, the bad news is you're going to have a limp all your life. Like, we did what we can, but your shit's pretty much messed up. Like, you're going to have a significant limp, And the good news, you ready for it? And I was like, yeah. And mind you, I didn't give a shit, bro. Like, I was just like, I know what happened, And he's like, the good news is we lined up your grandma's memorial tattoo as much as we can.
Wow.
Surgery.
That's cool.
Bro. And that was my grandma, bro.
Yeah.
And I was just praying to her on the ground, asking.
You want to put that by the camera?
Yeah, put it by. Show it right there, brother.
Yeah. So they told me, like, see how the connected. They told me they're like the good news is we were able to save your.
That's cool.
Tattoo.
I mean, that
very thoughtful, huh?
Yeah.
But in my
especially considering the crisis, that was going on,
In my mind, carnal, I was thanking my grandma because that was clarification that she got me through that, bro.
Qué loco, huh?
Wow, man.
Because why would the doctor give a fuck?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But he came to tell me what the good news was, dog.
Yeah.
And the good news was that my abuelita, you know what I'm saying? And I was just a few hours before that, I was telling her, like, Grandma, like, I need you right now.
Yeah.
And she got me through that.
That's crazy.
And you know what? I'm gonna tell you guys one thing that brings to my mind that I just thought of. She hated my tattoos, bro. She would tell me, "Pareces mapa, pareces periódico. ¿Por qué te rayas?"
Why? Yeah.
And for the doctor to tell me we saved your grandma's memorial tattoo.
Yeah.
No,
my grandma got me through that, my boy. And I don't take that for granted, dog.
I'm sure you don't. I'm sure, like, every time you think about it, that instance, that whole incident.
And you know what? bro, growing up from birth, I have hated my body. You know what I'm saying? And even though I was grateful for living, I hated life, bro. Cause now I'm like,
do you have
I lost the dude that I cherish, like,
of course,
on some real shit. Like that was we went through so much stuff together, bro. Like I can't even talk about what we've been through together.
Yeah,
you know, cause and that's part of the reason why I think that happened to us. Cause the karma is ultimate, bro.
Yes, it is.
Even though it's very tragic what happened to me and my brother, and I hate it every day when I think about it. At the same time, bro, like, man, we caused a lot of injuries upon people, bro.
Right.
You know, and that's just living that life of survival, you know. And but there's a time where you pay for what you reap, you know.
Reap what you sow.
And
well, they say live by the sword, die by the sword.
Yeah,
right?
that's what they say.
Bro.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
in regards to going through all that, and you know, fast forwarding it a little bit, I know that you ended up in prison, did some sort of time, but you ended up homeless, right?
Yeah.
And how long were you homeless for?
7 months.
7 months.
Yeah.
And
I was
then-
living in the parks.
And then from there, you reached out to a family member, if I remember correctly. And
No.
No.
So I reached out to Mr. Quinones, which is a pretty.
Hey, that's me.
That's
Hey,
his last name.
Andy Q.
He's a good attorney, criminal lawyer in the La Puente area.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a Quinones from
Yeah,
La Puente.
his name's Gilbert
All right,
Quinones.
yeah.
maybe he's your
Quinones.
family
You
member.
think any relation, dude?
His name's
Maybe.
Gilbert Quinones, and I used to work with his wife, who is a physician assistant. I used to work at a clinic in San Bernardino. I was a phlebotomist. And
This guy was everything.
yeah,
Man, he was saying he was trying to figure it all out, bro. That hustle was
I
real.
was a phlebotomist during the day, and I would work security for cartel members at night.
Oh, wow.
And do my hustle during the weekend, and then come back to the clinic on Monday. You know,
Damn.
like I was living a crazy life.
So
but,
Pushin Fruits though was like, thank God I'm doing this and not all that other stuff.
thank
man.
God for life today. Straight up, like I not only should I not be here today, but life is good, bro. Like I'm at the best place of my life that I've ever been.
That's awesome.
And there's still more to go.
So you reached out to her.
Oh, so yeah, sorry.
No, it's all good.
So Mr. Quinones, I knew him through her, and I always knew that he was a top dog, a lawyer. You know, he actually was defending the dudes. Remember when the guy got beat up at Dodger Stadium from the Giants?
Yes, Brian Stowe.
So he was the.
we were there for
Stowe or
Was it Brian Stowe?
Yeah, that guy.
The
it was
Giants.
the Brian Stowe.
that
Okay,
guy.
because there was
like
another.
brain damage.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all that.
we
no,
were there.
you're talking about the old man that got beat up like recently. that
No,
they
no,
found-
no, no.
they
But
put it
I was thinking about the incident where Antenna Cruz died. The guy that came home from college, and they're from Covina. That family.
Oh no.
No.
Oh,
He's
no,
talking
okay,
about
this
Brian
is
Stowe.
the Brian
Remember,
Stowe.
he got.
Yeah, he
He
was
got-
a Giants fan.
he got-
Came fucking around. He got down. He
Okay,
got laid
yeah.
out,
Okay,
and-
I know that. I heard that one.
So
first.
the attorney that I'm talking, or lawyer that I'm talking about, was their defense lawyer. The guys that
No
beat him
way.
up. Yeah. So I knew the dude, right? Like, and I never knew that I would have needed him, but I was homeless, bro. I did time for running over attempted murder because I ran my mom's husband over after the whole shooting.
Did he have it coming?
100%. And I would do it again.
I gotta ask.
He said, "I would do it again."
Okay,
Yeah. He took advantage of me and my disabilities at the time from when I was shot, and he tried to hit me.
Oh, okay.
Because me and my mom were having a discussion, a heated discussion, and he tried to dope feed me, bro, and I couldn't live with that, you know. And so because I was in my mindset where I was on a list of pain medicines. I was up for like 8 days in a row, and it was just a mess. And yeah, man, the LAPD took me out of the house, and I was disabled and heavily medicated, and
Wow.
and I drove my car for the first time in a few months, and when I was leaving, I happened to see him crossing the street, and I just had to get my run back, bro. And because I was already dealing with, like, I need to get my brother's run back, like
everything on that end.
Like, you guys, I'm a ticking time bomb right now, you know, and that's why my mom had me taken out from the house, because she knew that I was a monster, bro.
For sure.
And it was just brewing, you know, and so yeah, that happened, and I fought it for a couple years, and I ended up getting a couple years, and I was facing more than 20, and
wow.
and you know what, at the end of the day, like, I ran into a prophet while I was in Supermax, dude, and the black dude was like, you know what, I need to talk to you. I have a message from you.
That story's crazy.
And I was like, and mind you, like I was super sureño, like I was beating fools up. I was putting it down for my hood like we should, you know, in that instance, you know, and I didn't have nothing to live for, bro. Like I was at the bottom of the barrel, so I was like, you know what, I'm about to get 20 years. I'm from Flores, like it's go time, my boy. Like let's do this, you know. I'm in my mid-20s, so I'm at my prime. And I came back from court one day, which my mom was testifying against me. You know, her and her husband, they were on the stand,
gosh,
they were just like, you know, this guy needs to be locked up. He's a monster. He's a gang member. He has guns. Blah blah blah. He threatens us. Like I was just a freaking devil in there, you know. And
just painting the bad picture of all cases.
I'm just looking at my mom like, damn,
like that,
bro, like. For
like
this,
that.
dude, like, all right, for sure, you know, and when I would get back, I would just inflict that pain on people, bro. Like, I would play it cool in court, but as soon as it was back in action, like, who's next to get beat up? Because I'm ready, you know, and through this time, bro, like, you know, my homeboy was running shit at that time, and I had no choice. It was the perfect time to shine. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's go, you know, and I didn't believe like too much in God. Like I didn't really know how to pray. I didn't really know none about that. You know, all I knew was El Monte. Bro, like on some real shit.
Do you think prison like gave you that opened that door a little bit for you, like to start believing, or was it something else?
I'm gonna tell you what opened that door straight up. I come back from court, you know, and I think the deal was like 15 years or something. And I was like, heck no. Like I didn't do that. I was so caught up in that I didn't do that I was believing myself. Like I didn't run this guy over. You guys are crazy, and I'm gonna prove it. You know. And the public defender that I had, bro, was an angel, and she was able to prove the fact that I didn't do it. You know.
Wow.
And so, anyways,
do you keep in contact with her now?
No, bro. No? She's out of the Van Nuys court, but I don't remember. Like, I went through so much shit after that.
Yeah, you're like, so, I'm not gonna go back to her because she got me out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Try to stir it up.
I go back to Supermax from a bad court date, and I come into the dorm, and I'm just hating life, you know. And I come back I'm walking to my bed, and some black dude stops me. Like, he comes in front of me. He's like, "Hey, man, I need to talk to you." And I was like, hell nah. Like, I'm not racist, you know, but in that situation, like, you have to just program, you know. And I was like, nah, bro, there ain't no talking. What's up? And he was like, I need to have a message for you, and I need to deliver it. And I was like, what? So I kind of went back to the shooting, and I was like, oh shit, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What do you know?
Yeah.
You know? Like, let me hear
what's going on.
You know? And he's like, and just picture this, like the dude was maybe like mid 70s. Like if he was free, he was homeless for sure. He looked bad, you know, like dusty, and you know, he'd been there. And he's like, I have a message for you, and I showed him the respect, and I let him shoot the message, bro. And the message was that he was a prophet from God, and he was there to give me a message, and the message was that. One message that he told me was, if I don't show the respect and love that God deserves, that he was going to pluck something closer to me that he already did to make me aware of who's in control.
And he didn't even know your situation, bro, at all.
God,
like what you've already, you know, told us.
God, not. I didn't, honestly, at the moment, I probably didn't even know any black people in life, let alone for him to know my life. And and my godmother is black. Shout out to the black people, because I love them. You know, my godmother Trika Yvette Barnett. She's the shit.
All right, oh yeah.
But the dude, bro, like, I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, you know, I know what happened, you know, with the shooting, and I know who you lost, and I'm here to tell you that, you know, you have a different purpose. Like, what you're doing right now is not what you're here for. He's like, you just have to go through the motions of this.
So random,
bro. And we're in the middle of we're in the day room of a dorm, and there's like, I don't know, 75, 100 dudes in there. All, you know, the blacks and the homies and this and the that. And he's like, yeah, bro. He's like, I know what's going on with you. I know your kids. I know you're broken right now, and I'm here to tell you that you have a bigger purpose. And he's like, can I pray for you? And I was like, run that. Because one thing I ain't scared of is someone to pray for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to pray for me,
if that doesn't make you
no matter
closer believe, like at least to open up your eyes a little bit that God does exist.
This is some this is some real shit, my boy. And
I feel that. I mean, I know what you mean. Like, I love that because I know what you mean about the prayer stuff. My grandmother and my mom, God rest my grandmother. So she passed away a couple years. 67 years in La Puente, that woman.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's
shout out to
grandma. You know how they always say like, well, where's your grandma? My family's from La Puente. Like, she was there 67 years. My grandparents helped build the church and Bassett High School, the whole bit.
Sure.
So they were there before the high school. And when I think about the prayer, my grandma always told me, I'm gonna pray for you, mijo. I'm gonna pray for you, mijo. I mean, it was like my entire life, and I always have questions about God and existence and that type of stuff. And I went to Catholic school, so St. Louis of France, right there in Puente, and my parents instilled it on me, right? And even just yesterday, I was talking to my mom, and she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna pray for you, mijo." I'm like, man, she still continues to say, and I love what you said, like people, that want to pray for me, I'll take it anytime. And I still do take it every time, but I still do have my questions and doubts only because of all the shit that you go through. And you're like, man, I'm upset about something right now. What? Come on, man. Like, give me something.
But I mean, I'm going through so much right now too, and I try not to question him too much, but whenever I do, it's like I don't think he's there for me. And then all of a sudden, I see whether it's a video or a message that's being sent to him, like, okay, I see you.
He's there.
You're talking to me. Okay,
I feel you.
I feel that. I get you.
I don't, like I say, like when I do my motivational stuff, I'm not a Bible pusher. Like I have never read a scripture in the Bible.
I love that prophet.
I've never read a
man.
book, period, in my life, especially not the Bible, because of my attention span. But what I do know is, dude, if you believe, God is there. But you have to believe.
Right.
And I'm telling you, and this is super strong for me because I'm going through some stuff with my little brother. He's 35, and I'm trying to help him realize that God got us, my boy.
Yeah.
Like, my brother's been shot. My brother's been in a bad accident, a motorcycle accident. He got a tumor removed, and he's fighting his darkest times right now.
Oh.
And it breaks my heart to see him on a mission to destruct, and what I try to tell him is, I tell him I'm not perfect by no means. I don't knock your addiction because we're not perfect. But what does make me a little bit frustrated is the fact that you don't realize that God has spared your life more than once in very obvious situations, and you don't realize that. Therefore, I think you're disrespecting God in a way. And I think that's why your life is in turmoil. And because you don't give a fuck.
It's crazy that you say that, because you should be the perfect example of what you went through for your brother, and be like, look, I was able to change my life around. You were shot, you went to prison, you were homeless, you almost got killed by a family member. So he should. And I just find it interesting that he can't look towards you and be like, you know what? If my brother was able to get through it, I can get through it.
Like an inspiration, like you were saying.
But everybody's mentality is just so different.
No. And I know he realizes it, but the problem is alcohol.
Oh man. Yeah.
So my brother, I believe he realizes it, right? But he has something on the shoulder that's itching him. And he told me the other day, I said, mijo, you need to tone it down, bro. Like, your health is not in its best because of the tumor stuff. He has seizures now. And I tell him, I see you, because he's my barber. He's like the best barber I ever had. And he's only been cutting hair for like 4 years, right? He just cut my hair yesterday in Oxnard. But and I cherish these times because I really tell him, like, I love you, carnal. Like, you and my... that's all I really have in family is my mom and my little brother. My sister, she's out there, but I'm cool. You know what I mean? But my little brother, bro, that's like my mini me. Like everything we've gone through is identical.
Does he help you? Well, I know he helped you go do the carts, get the cart, but does he help you like now still, like when you're out there?
No, he's busy. He has his little family and stuff, and he's got a lot of things going through, you know, and the best thing I could do, and I told him like last week on the phone, I said, look, God forbid anything happens to you, I have something to tell you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to live with that shit on my chest forever, you know? So, and I told him, you know what? You're on a mission of self-destruct, and I love you, and people are watching you on your way down. I said, I think it's time that you take a step back and you look at your life and you make some changes that are possible. They're not impossible. Like, and he told me, he's like, bro, it's because I'm trying not to drink, and you know, but they keep telling me like, here, have one drink. They keep telling me, and I'm like, bro, fuck they. Like who can control you so much to where you have to have that drink? And he's like, carnal, they is me. Like they is my mind.
Yeah.
He's like, I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to drink today. He's like, and they tell me just one. And so I have that one, and guess what?
So
He's like, they shut up.
Wow.
And I'm like,
so it satisfies that current addiction, that hunger for that, you know, and it's not, and he, you know, he finds peace in it, unfortunately. You know, because
he finds comfort.
Right, comfort.
Not peace.
Yeah, comfort in that.
Comfort,
and it's like, it's a blanket, right? A security blanket, right? Like, I need this real quick because I need to, all the other bullshit that's going around my head, it kind of suppresses it for a little while, but it doesn't go away.
And my thing to him is like, bro, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You wake up and you don't give a fuck, your life is fucked.
Yeah.
I've woken up 27 years of not giving a fuck until the day after that dude told me that he was a prophet. I woke up and I had love in my heart. And I gave a fuck, bro.
And it changed.
And from that time on, I got out.
Right.
I wasn't supposed to get out. I got out. That was a blessing. I'm homeless, but I'm not alone. That's a blessing.
Yep.
And that homeless time just gave me time to reevaluate shit. You know what I mean? And I don't know what else to say, but God is good, bro, and He'll get us there, dog. You just have to really believe, and ultimately, you have to give a fuck.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like you wake up and you're like, man, fuck this. I'm gonna fuck this, or I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna burn so and so.
Yeah.
Like your life is gonna be troubled, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It's not until you wake up and you're like, you know what?
You gotta take it all in.
Thank you, God, for giving me another day. Thank you for what you've done for me. Thank you for the opportunities that you shot my way.
Gratitude.
I'm gonna be my best today.
That's exactly right.
Gratitude.
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 That's exactly right, bro.
That shit moves mountains, dog.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I worked with youngsters for years doing gang intervention work, and in particularly up at the camps. And I used to take in these two little like Smurf characters, Smurf characters. And one was a devil, a little devil Smurf. Yeah. You know, the other one was like an angel Smurf. And to play around with the youngsters, I'd be like, there's always going to be these two on your shoulder your whole life. Yep. One whispers into here, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. And that's all he says. I don't give a fuck. Yep. But the other one will whisper in your ear, I care. I care. And so it's interesting that you say that is because we have those two that are talking to us our whole life to either not give a fuck on one side of the spectrum,
which is the easiest spectrum.
Right. That's the easiest route always.
Right.
Of course.
It's funny because when you say easy, it's easy for the short time, but for the long time, it's harder. Yeah. Because when you care, it takes work. Caring takes work.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
And
without a doubt.
Especially to care for yourself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's the first. That's the first hard.
You gotta stick to that. Yeah. If you're gonna care,
has to be your game plan number one.
Right.
It's got to be you first. It's got to start here.
If you don't give a fuck,
it's got to start
you don't give a fuck hard.
Yeah. So that was one of the first things that we would work with youngsters on is noticing when that's, hey, I don't give a fuck, to the word I care. I care and I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I care and I'm grateful. And that changes, like, it moves mountains.
100%.
I care and I'm grateful.
And
Look,
cute with it, man.
If I didn't know some things that I know today, bro, life would be so much easier. And that's belief,
Goes for a lot of us, man.
self-worth,
Right.
Yeah.
and manifestation.
Ooh,
I think
Trinity.
That moves mountains.
That's right.
In all honesty, I think if we had a little bit of more openness like we have now, we had it back then when we were growing up,
Right.
I think our lives would be a little different, and we would be moving a little different.
For sure.
You know, because back then we didn't have some sort of like escape.
Right.
I mean, if we had an escape, it was either, for me, it was going to my best friend's house at the time as a kid, or it was soccer.
Yeah.
Those were my two escape routes. Other than that, where else?
Yeah.
School doesn't. I mean, for sure, my schools didn't help
school
at
just
all.
gets you out of the household trauma.
Right, but even then, it's like
That's
they
the
already
thing
knew
that
you
does.
were the bad kid, you were the bad apple, and they
Right.
pick on you. The teachers would make it hell
bro.
for you too. So
I was a crappy ass kid, and you know what they did with me? They put me in a special ed class.
Yeah.
Orale, you can't disrupt nobody in there because it's already a disruptive class.
Yeah. The
And
environment's
so I'll be
already
in
like
there
that.
with
Yeah.
the homies, like, all right, my boy, what you got? Down syndrome? Don't trip. Or you got learning disabilities? Well, so do I, because I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Give a fuck.
That was your learning
So
disability.
let's
Like,
not
I don't
give a fuck
fuck.
together.
That's-
Yeah, hell yeah. Let's
Hey man,
party in here.
we're talking with George, Pushin Fruits LA. This has been super enlightening, and here on Tapped In Media, and we have and we have our streak alive though still, right? Like we make guys like just kind of break down to us, like and like the last few people that have come on with us, like they just barrel it
just
out,
let it out, which
And,
is good.
we love that, like, and we don't even look for it though. We really just kind of like just want to go and attack it. But like hearing your story, especially at this level, at this length now, and what you've done with yourself and how you've overcome all that. It's super inspirational, and I can see why people would look to you to be motivational, do motivational speaking. And I think you should do that even more on a professional end, man. And meaning like Push Fruit LA, that's your business. But then look at this and be like, yo, this is what I do.
I'm working on that. I'm about to open up my own nonprofit organization called Pushing Forward.
Nice.
It's kind of running along with Pushing Fruits.
Yeah.
And the whole idea behind that is I'm gonna get a RV. I'm gonna wrap it with a big ass arrow pushing
forward. Yeah.
And I'm gonna tour the United States and speak to different schools.
That
Oh
is dope.
man, are you
That
gonna
is
take
dope.
the cart with you though?
Hell yeah.
All right.
so
Because it's
I
gonna
love
be hand
it's
in
got
hand.
okay. That's
So-
awesome.
So I'm gonna try to bring it back just a little bit,
Yeah.
because I want to get to the part where, how in the world did you end up at NASA?
Yeah, I know. That's a good, because when I heard NASA, I'm like, what, NASA? How do you work in NASA?
I fucking worked in
A
that
cholo
shit,
from the
dog.
streets, from El Monte.
Yeah,
Oh,
worked at NASA, bro.
Ends up at NASA.
Honestly, like, my girl's mom, she had worked for NASA for like 30 years, I believe. She was like a contractor, HR manager
Okay.
for
And
NASA.
can she get us in?
Nah, she's living her best life right now.
What
She's on
you know
vacation.
about us is anytime we hear somebody doing really good or like have something good going on, we're like, well, can we get us a job?
Yeah. And that's how it is.
It's kind of we're always like that of everything. If you go
So-
back and there'll be like clips of us like, can you get us there? Like, and they're like, oh my god, these guys.
I mean, that
We've done like 20
it's not a
interviews. We do the
far-fetched
same
question.
thing.
There's been a lot of people that got me. Can you give me a job? And I got one person a job. It took me 4 years.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I left my mark there.
See, Ron,
And
something
I
right there,
changed
Rojo.
his
So you're
life and
telling
his
me
family's
there's a
life. So
chance.
shout out to my boy Jesse. Yeah.
Right.
How did NASA come about, though,
how did
man?
NASA come about? I was just coming off of being homeless.
Yeah.
I actually moved in with my little brother because he had a bomb ass job and he had his little family. Things were beautiful. Moved in with him. I ended up writing the judge from my case from my assault with a deadly weapon on my mom's husband. I wrote him a letter asking for expungement. And that's part of the reason why I was homeless, because I couldn't get a job, bro. Like, not even through an agency. Nobody would hire me because I had a violent crime on my record.
Mm-hmm.
Convicted felon.
Yeah,
That's
I was
so
a
hard.
convicted felon with the violent crime. That's the thing. Like, if I was a convicted felon with a drug charge,
That's one thing, and then you got another thing.
But if you have a violent crime on your record, the employers think about what
The
they
risk
will go
factor.
through. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And it took a lady from in Pacoima at a staffing agency to tell me that, because I was like, man, what the fuck? I'm the best worker here. Like, why you guys keep laying me off? Oh, because your record, you know, it came back shady or whatever. So the lady's like, mijo, look, we got to think about if we fire you, are you gonna beat us up? Like, that's what our worry is.
Yeah.
And so, all right, so
in all fairness,
yeah, and
You might
know
have
what?
done that in a previous life, but
yeah, you know what? I understand.
Yeah.
Like, but it took me someone to tell me, like, no seas pendejo, this is why, you know? And I was like, oh,
shit.
all right,
now I get it.
yeah.
And so she's like, the only reason you could get a job is if you got to get an expungement. And she's like, I don't know, like, the charge is assault with a deadly weapon. I don't know how that works, blah, blah, blah.
Man.
So then this goes back to Mr. Quinones.
Eso.
I hit up Quinones like, hey, my boy, I need help getting this shit expunged, dog. Like, I'm homeless out here living in fucking Hollenbeck Park in Covina, you know? And he's like, oh, yeah, not a problem. He's like, I charge usually like $3,500 for filing fees and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm homeless, carnal, you know? Like, I got time. What can I do? And he's like, all right, if that's what you want to do, this is what you do. And he's like, go back to the court, ask for an expungement packet, fill it out. It's a big ass packet, fill it out. And it's going to give you a section where it gives you a chance to explain why you should get it expunged. And the space was like, I don't know, 2 pages or some shit, bro. I wrote like 8 pages to this dude. And I was like, I ain't a piece of shit. Like, I've been through the shit. Like, I'm a hard worker. I shouldn't not have a job. I'm a worker, you know. I've been working since I was 12, cutting grass, bro, you know. And he's like,
that hustle mentality
like
there, man.
2 months later, I get a letter back, and he's like, this is so and so from the Department of Justice, and we're gonna give you your expungement.
That's awesome.
And not only in
Another
LA
blessing.
County, but LA County, Riverside County, and San Bernardino County, because I had fucked around in all those counties.
Yeah, all concurrent.
Yeah,
You know what I
and
mean?
so he's like, go get
What about
yourself
San
a
Diego
job.
County? No.
That's where I was born. I was actually born in San Diego.
I'm clear over there. I'm clear over there. I'm good.
Yeah, he gave me my expungement, and it was go time, bro. I met my girl, and she introduced me to her brother, who's a Marine. He's a scout sniper for the Marines.
Damn.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, he's a bad dude, and professional level, personal level, and military level, the dude is bad, you know.
Nice.
Shout out Michael Yoloa.
Michael, do they still live out there now?
Michael Yoloa, he has a house in Palmdale.
Oh, cool.
And he was actually my district manager for this job that I currently at, but he just promoted. He got a different job for now. He works for the Telecom Communications of Mexico.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, anyways, I meet him, right? I went with my girl a couple of months, and she's like, "Yeah, I need you to meet my brother. He's a Marine vato. I don't know, cover your tattoos, And I was like, all right, whatever. And so I meet him, and he's like, what do you do for a living? And I'm like, I'm in between jobs right now, but, I'm a hustler and shit. He's like, oh, do you want a job in the cable company? I was like, if you got one. That's another thing about me, dog. I'll take a prayer and I'll take a job.
Damn right.
If someone's like, hey, I could get you a job, run it then.
Me too. I take a job from Rojo, bro.
Most of the time it's Portobello. Most of the time it's Portobello, but run it then, And if you run it, I'm gonna run with it.
Nice.
So he got me a job in the cable company, which I hated, bro. It was residential cable with Time Warner Cable.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't know.
Were you climbing poles or like just full install? Okay, gotcha.
Running drop,
running
all
line,
that, bro.
Gotcha.
Attic,
crawl spaces.
And I come from hustling, bro. And
Right.
I'm like, oh. So then I'm working, bro, and my checks are like $20, nothing because of child support. And it was piecework. So whatever I did, I got paid for it. But if I didn't work, I ain't getting paid. So, my lady was, after a while dating, my lady's like, hey, like, so like we never go out or nothing. I'm like, I'm broke. I'm pretty much working for my kids' insurance. Like, they're deducting my shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's
before child, current child, like all that, right? And so my mother-in-law, she was like, oh, like, I see you're a hard worker, blah, blah, blah. Do you have a resume? And I was like, nah, I don't have nothing. She's like, well, let me help you with your resume, and I'm going to disperse it to my company. And she's like, there's always hiring. There's so many positions, whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. Thank you, Lupe, Sure enough, she gave me my resume fucking sick ass resume, right? And I'm like, damn, that looks feed, man.
Yeah.
I would hire me.
No, that's me.
Yeah, hell yeah. Can we highlight that
Check
part?
this out.
She was the Chat GPT of before.
That's right,
Yeah,
man.
bro. And,
She hooked it up.
And so she's like, look it over, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I'm going to disperse it to work. And I'm like, all right. Like 2 months later, a NASA recruiter called me. He's like, hey, we have your application. Are you still interested? And I was like, damn, babe. I'm like, it's NASA.
I got NASA on the phone.
Yeah. Hold it down.
Yo, keep it down over there. What's that? Yeah, you like my resume? It was pretty good, right? It's really good, right?
Yeah, she's like, well, what's up? And I'm like, yeah, I told them I want the job still. So then, bam, like a week later, like, all right, well, we have a panel interview ready for you. And,
That's so
bro. And
cool.
I was at Ross looking for court clothes to wear. And,
Yes,
and,
dude.
and I didn't find
Hey,
them.
and there's
and
nothing wrong with Ross, bro. Ross is awesome.
No, I didn't even find nothing.
I go to Marshall's.
So I
Damn
legit,
right.
I legit got my court clothes. My little, like my white was turning yellow already. And
Oh, yeah.
And I went to the interview and I had to keep my hands like this because I already outgrew it. So if I moved, they would see my tattoos.
Oh,
And so I was like this. I was like real proud for it. Like, oh yeah, like if I was
sitting
like,
all straight.
yeah. And I look and I see the Asian dude. He's just like zoning in on my tattoos, and I'm like,
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
bro. He was the one that ended up taking a chance on me,
Wow.
and I got the job out of 12 applicants at the Jet Propulsion.
That's
Laboratory.
awesome.
Yeah.
That JPL, that's right there in Pasadena.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. I was there for 9 years, bro. I was in the Space Flight Operations Center. That's pretty much the center of the universe in the globe, because that's where all the global and deep ocean data come in.
What a cool ass job.
Yeah.
What exactly were you doing though?
I was part of the data center management team, so we would manage the data centers. There's 7 data centers.
And you knew nothing,
bro. I
in regards to that
I don't
job.
even have a high school diploma. I dropped out.
That
bro.
is
I'm
wow.
I'm a dropout from Monte, bro. But my work ethic got me there, dog. Like
That speaks volumes, though.
I don't do half-ass nothing.
Yeah, that speaks volumes of who you are and how you went into a job like that with a badass
Bro.
resume. And, you
Yeah.
know, just completely, owned it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And for
And I got
somebody
it.
to taking a chance on you like that was like,
My boy Jim Chu from China, bro.
what up, Jim Chu?
Jim
Thanks,
Chu.
man. Big
He's
shout out
still
to
my
Jim
homie.
Chu,
Yeah,
bro.
He's still my homie.
Oh, see, and a longtime friend now, too. Like that,
yeah,
man, that's,
Jim Chu's the shit.
I love that, man.
That dude got me.
I
there.
love that.
And but the thing is like I got hired, right? And this is kind of crazy. So I got hired and they gave me the job, and then like 4 months later I got a federal investigator that was running a make on me for like 4 months. My family, my ex-wife, all that. But my jail time, all that, bro. And so they set up an appointment with me, right? And they kind of I don't have top security clearance. They just have me kind of as a placeholder in like one area.
Mm-hmm.
So like I had to have an escort to go to the bathroom, all that shit. So then the dude sets up the appointment with me, and he's a federal investigator coming from Florida, and he's like, I just want to make sure you're there. Like I'm coming for you, and I was like, all right. And everybody's telling me like, oh shit, like you got an investigator? I was like, and I'm like, why didn't you? And they're like, nah. All right. I'm like, all right, whatever. So the dude comes. Right?
I'm special.
Yeah,
You
and
know
I'm
what I
telling my
mean?
girl, I'm like, babe, they're making it seem like the Men in Black are gonna like come in and like, like for real, and she's
That's
like, well,
awesome.
just be awesome, just be honest, And I was like, all right, all right. There went my career,
Yeah.
And
I thought
sure
I was
enough-
working at JPL.
Yeah, bro. And sure enough, this dude comes in, right? Heavy set white dude with this black suit, fucking little flag right here.
Oh, yeah.
And he's
Buttoned
like,
up and ready.
Yeah, he's like
Mhm.
laptop, boom. He
Oh,
opens
yeah.
that bad boy up with his notes, and I'm looking at the notes, and he's got a grip of notes, bro. And I'm like, fuck, all right.
Man,
So-
this guy did his homework.
Yeah, he's like, all right, George, how are you? And I'm like, I'm good. And I'm like, I'm just a little nervous because I'm new to this, He's like, oh, yeah, no worries, just be honest,
Almost
He's
feels like
like-
he has your whole life right there.
Yeah, he's like, just be honest. I'm gonna ask you some questions. I just need to confirm some things, and that's it. And I'll be on my way. And I'm like, all the way back to Florida. He's like, yeah. He's like, all right. So then he's like, just to start off, I see here that you did some time in custody for a Joseph Lopez, an incident with Joseph Lopez, and that was my mom's husband.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. We had it coming.
And I'm like, bro, he couldn't wait
wanted to put that out
bro,
there.
he couldn't wait to say that. Like, he couldn't wait to bring that to the table. And I was just like, oh, like in my inside, I'm like
that's it, done.
Like,
yeah.
they're gonna escort.
Yeah,
they're gonna escort me out. That's it.
I had a badass job, and then all of a sudden this guy walks in. Now I don't got the badass job anymore.
Yeah, bro. And I kind of sat back, and I was like, oh man, I was kind of hoping you weren't gonna bring this up, but in all fairness, like it was further than the 7 years I was being asked about, you know. So I wasn't lying by saying no, you know, but there was a little something to share, you know.
Right.
And
they had to do it though,
already.
huh?
And he's like, all right, so you know, just be honest with me and tell me what happened. I'm like, the dude disrespected me. They called the cops on me. They escorted me out, and I seen them, and it was an opportunity for me, and I struck, you know, and I was very regretful. I did my time, blah blah blah. And here we are. And he's like, fair enough, and I'm like, that's it. He's like, oh, I one more thing. He's like, it shows here that when you're in custody, like you're kind of considered a member of a organized crime group, and I'm like,
oh, what?
I'm like, to be very honest with you, sir. I said this is the first time I hear about this, and I can't really tell you anything about it because I don't know. Like I'm not really sure what you're talking about. And I was being honest, like, what? Like I ain't from nowhere but Flores, you know. And he was like, all right, that's fair enough, you know. And that was the last time I ever heard of anything. I started getting my security clearances in.
Damn.
Boom, boom. Bro, I have top security clearance, bro. I hold the top security clearance right now.
Wow. So still now.
Yeah. So
you're still there now?
No, I'm not with JPL no more. No. I work for a Canadian IT company now.
Oh.
Yeah, so I work.
You still carry top security clearance also for the Klingermans, huh?
Yes, sir.
Oh, so you got two of them.
Sir, yeah.
Right.
I take pride in that.
That's awesome.
And you know what? It all boils down to not half-assing anything in life, bro.
Yeah.
I tell people like, man, my mom used to fuck me up for half-assing the dishes, you know, let alone
do it right,
let alone life.
Get it done and do it right.
About it.
Yeah. And so that's what I believe in, bro. I believe in going hard and or going home.
I mean, so obviously from the whole prison to NASA to building your business, Pushin Fruits, how did that open up all these other doors now that you've gotten, you know, with the acting? I know you've been in some acting roles.
Yeah.
You've done some modeling.
Yeah.
And more specifically,
what?
Yeah,
I was a model too.
Hold on. And more specifically,
I did a runway show.
More specifically, this guy was a backup dancer for Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
No way.
On the 2023 Grammys, we were the opening act.
No way.
Yeah,
is that footage? Is there footage of it? We got to get that.
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah.
We'll find
We'll find
I
that.
still got my
We'll find that.
badge. I got my badge still. It says Bad Bunny, backup dancer, merengue. Spencer, I was waving that shit around like, yo, that's me. Where's my dressing room?
I saw that. I saw that in the notes. Like
it was pretty sick.
That he put it. He put the. We looked things up, and he put it in the notes that he's all. And then I looked at it, and I'm like, what? Like, I was like, a merengue dancer?
Yeah, bro. We were the opening.
Is that
Look
the
at
one?
Andy Q right here. Is this the one?
Yeah.
Is it?
I'm hold on.
Yo.
Let's come up, bro. I'm like over here. I'm over here.
Oh, for real though.
Hold on. I want to be.
Man, that was quick, Andy Q.
Quick.
Look at you, bro.
Yeah,
I love it.
So they were entering the show, and then I'm right there.
Oh man. Oh.
Didn't have to rewind that.
Yeah.
Damn. And Taylor Swift out there the whole bit, right?
Bro,
I don't know who that is.
I was dancing in the front on stage, and all these celebrities were just watching me, like. And I was like, I was all cramped up. My hamstrings are all tense.
The ankle's giving out.
Oh yeah, bro. I got hardware in my whole left side. My shit was all like hanging for life.
Damn.
But yeah, I think it was the next, like right after that.
That is crazy, man. Bad Bunny. How did you get?
Yeah, I'm not.
That's you?
How did you get that gig?
Oh, I'm on that corner. Here I come. Watch. I have a flower like Hawaiian shirt.
Let me see. Here we go.
But yeah, so all these fools right here.
Yeah.
These were all like from Brazil, like professional dancers.
Yeah.
Like trying to make their spot, bro.
And how did you get your
we keep missing
debut?
it.
Say it again.
I had a friend that she was a makeup artist on a few sets that I worked on.
No way.
And she's like, hey, First she said it was like Carol G.
Where?
Right there. I was getting it.
Oh, you're way over there by yourself.
Yeah. Well, because we had the whole stage, so over here was more people.
You're like, you know what? I'm gonna go over
right
here.
there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna create my own lane so people can see me.
I was giving the people their shine, bro. Like, because there was fools in there rehearsing. We were there from like the day of the Grammys. We were there at 7 a.m. The Grammys weren't starting until 5 p.m. So we were there. These fools are like some crazy. Like they were for real, and I was there smoking my weed. Vape. Like I wasn't taking it serious. I was just taking it all in. Like shit. Because the theme was like everybody had to show like their selves. Like be yourself.
Did you talk? Did you get a chance to talk with Bad Bunny?
Nah. He held like a. We were like in the box seats area of the Staples Center, and he just had like a big prayer, and then we got pumped up. The live band was playing in the hallway right there. And we were just like, I have some crazy videos. Like we are just getting it, bro. That shit was pretty sick. Like nobody would have ever known.
Talk about somebody from the hood,
right?
SGV,
dancing merengue with Bad Bunny, bro.
Dancing merengue.
That dude was,
at the Grammys,
and we made history for being the first all Latino act. All Latino, the beginning act for the Grammys or something.
What a trip!
Yeah, it was last
crazy,
week,
bro.
2023.
Awesome,
that shit was fire. And I got like 7 G's for that.
So and we've
what?
So wow, 7?
Yeah.
Okay,
dude, where do I sign up? Yeah, you better start dancing merengue now, dude.
Dancer, man.
I was all like,
I'm not saying I know how to dance, but I can dance.
that was the first time I danced merengue in my life, but I gave it my all.
That's crazy, man.
That is so good.
Honestly, like for those that view this, and we've had great interviews in the past that have given such inspiration of their stories. But if this doesn't light a fire underneath you, I don't know what will, because this guy, like I said, comes from the bottom, from the streets, in prison, homeless,
The roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
almost died.
Bro,
I mean,
you know,
look
I
where
tell
he's
these,
at.
I tell these youngsters, like, it don't matter how much of a fuck up you are right now. You just don't know what's next. Like,
And what's on the horizon,
And
the pushing forward.
Yes.
Yeah, the pushing
on the
forward.
horizon, right?
and that's
Like,
my whole thing. And like my whole motivational speaking is not. I don't bash homies for being homies. I don't bash people for doing drugs.
Right.
You know, like because they get their own bashing, right? My thing, like I do work with the Amani Police Department of the torch program, right? They have a torch program for these youngsters that are fucking up, and it's court ordered from Pomona Court, and they have to do this 12-week program, and I'm the first speaker on their first day of the program.
wow.
I used to do that.
And these kids are like, fuck you, I'm not trying to be here. And I go up there, bro, and I'm like, you know what? My name is Jorge. I'm the owner, operator of Pushin Fruits. I work for NASA, backup dancer for Bad Bunny. I said, and I'm from Monteflores, and I'm here to tell you guys, my story.
That's a pretty
know?
brand new resume. Is that updated?
Yeah, right?
100%. and you know
References?
what? And
References? Bad Bunny.
And
I'm gonna add my cover
and
sheet
this
on
is
that
the
bad
thing,
boy.
Like, but like aside from
Love
the
it.
laughs, like I make sure these kids know that I'm still from my hood. Why? And a lot of people ask me like, why? Like, why do you?
Why do you still rep
Why do you
it?
promote that? You know, but it's because that if you don't, these kids ain't gonna listen.
It's
Yeah,
also part of your
that's true.
story,
Like-
though.
like-
Like it's part of what you've gone
Yeah.
through.
Like when and for sure, and I thank you that I thank you for that. But the reality is, when I was young, and the guys from Victory Outreach would come, or like the veteranos that just got out from 30 years, which I fucking love you guys for being out, you know, and shout out to my homies that are getting out after 30
Hell
years,
yeah.
25 years,
And
you know?
stay the fuck out.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I didn't care about what they had to say because they were talking
They're
behind
trying
religion.
they're trying to push the Bible.
They're talking about
It's too
religion,
much.
and
These
they're
kids
nodding
don't-
off. Like I was a kid, bro, and they're telling me this, and they're nodding off behind their sunglasses.
Oh,
bro.
yeah.
Like, come on, carnal, let's
We need
be
more.
real.
We need more.
So because of that, I take pride in the fact that I do community work. I motivate youngsters, and I'm still from my hood, bro. Because, you know, a homie asked me yesterday. He's like, "Damn, bro, why don't you live in the hood still? Like, where you at?" And I'm like, you know what? I'm the eagle of our barrio. Like, I'm the bald eagle. Sometimes I could be away for weeks at a time, but guess what? I'm gonna bring back some nourishment. Like, I'm gonna bring back some food for you guys to eat. You know, because if I stay here, none of us are gonna eat.
You're gonna get out.
Yeah.
You know, and so I kind of use that comparison to a bald eagle, bro. Like you can't be in the nest all the time, or else your
you
babies
gotta grow.
ain't gonna eat. Like you gotta go out there and get it.
You gotta
dog.
grow,
and that's what I'm doing from my hood, bro. Like I'm going out there, and I'm being the best that I can be, and I'm not gonna fail, bro, because the youngsters are kind of like, I believe this Vato, but he might still get busted, you know? and the older people are like, man, this guy's gonna fail. Like he's just another one trying to save the hood, you know? But I'm gonna save the hood, dog. Like and I feel we lost a lot of people that shouldn't be gone.
Right.
You know,
absolutely.
and that goes for every hood, bro.
Oh,
like
yeah.
and that just goes for humanity, bro. Like we need to bring humanity back, Adnan. Like people don't give a fuck about people, bro. And you know
Not
what?
enough.
I get a little bit emotional today because I didn't always give a fuck, dog. Like I you know, I've seen a lot of dead bodies. I've seen a lot of people take their last breath. I've helped rap homies. I've helped rap my dad, my stepdad. Like I've been in contact with dead people, you know what I mean? And it never bothered me. But now that I look at life different, Kana, like it saddens me to lose somebody, dog. And I might not even know him. You know, shout out to my little homie, you know, Daniel, for losing his life. That was my high school friend's son. You know, like my homegirl Liz, I was able to help with the funeral services and organize it because I have a friend that is a private funeral director. So I was able to help in that way. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't go to the car wash. I don't really go to car washes and do all that shit.
Do you think having the business like this now, like Pushin Fruits and stuff, has created like a larger network for you to do the type of work you want to do now? Like especially for like pushing forward and the stuff that's coming up?
I think it just brought a little popularity. Ryan Seacrest kind of put me on. I was on his podcast.
Ryan Seacrest.
I know.
Yeah, with
Check
Kiss
that out.
FM. And he was very intrigued in my Pushin Fruits business. And we spoke on a few occasions, bro. And I was on his show. I was actually on a show, on an interview while I was at JPL, you know, just on the phone because of the COVID stuff and all that at that time. And so I was at JPL and I was doing an interview for a show. And after that, bro, like I started getting, you know, unfiltered stories reached out to me.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I think that has like 4 million views on Facebook or something, like, and so stuff started popping up, you know? And I don't take advantage of none of it. Like
For sure.
If I were to speak about myself, I would be like, man, that fool has worked so hard to get to where he's at today. Like, shoot him his flowers, you know?
Yep.
And,
For sure.
And I feel like
Love
I
that.
deserve it.
Did you
dog.
want to say something? I saw you raising your hand. I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
And he's
No,
over here
I-
raising his hand like,
You know, I just a little bit of input. I was doing gang intervention work for like 18 years,
Yeah.
and and a lot of my time was in Flores, in El Monte in particular. And you know, a few things that come to my mind. Now, I was a gang member. My mentor, the founder of the San Gabriel Valley Conservation Corps, also was a gang member at one point, and he always told me, gangs aren't the problem. I love the culture, but it's gang violence that we have issues with. You know, we don't want to change the way you look, the way you sound, the way you dress. You know, like there's something
That's the
really
cultura.
nice.
That's
the
the
cultura.
cultura.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's like when we start killing each other, and so you know that quote, you know, hurt people, and through my work, it's like there's so many hurt people out there, youngsters, and the tragedy from the parents to the youngsters, and it seems like now we're at a part of time where a lot of people are able to address this, and hopefully again this next generation, your son, my son, our sons, are gonna have a different experience than our fathers did.
yeah.
Positive, for a positive way, right?
Yes,
I think
a
the
positive
only way that can happen is by us pushing a positive narrative. Because I'll tell you one thing, all these vlogs that are out there about hood vlog and hood this, hood that, like I posted that on my social media when my homie died, 2 months ago, and that was directly in how can I say it, like that came from that hood vlog shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that act of violence opened the gate. That vlog opened the gates to this violence to happen, bro.
Sure.
And it just so happened it happened in my hood. you know, and it took one of my homies out, you know, and he was young, he was in his 20s.
And there's this one dude, and I'm sorry to cut you off. There's this one dude, I forgot what he goes by. I think he's a young dude. I think he's Asian. And he was in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Dude, he does his hood vlogs. We reached out to him because I was like, oh, maybe I should try to bring him on. I mean, he said no, but he was in his bike, I think.
Yeah,
rolling
the problem with that, bro, is the dude ain't from nowhere.
Yeah, he's not from anywhere.
And I held people like that responsible for the deaths in these hoods, bro, because at the end of the day, what he's doing is he's promoting cyber gangbanging.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Internet gangbanging. It's already everywhere. It's already everywhere. But what he's doing is he's bringing it hood to hood. He did that vlog in my hood.
Yeah.
A week later, he did that hood in another hood.
Yeah, he's been down here in Pomona.
And because
I gotta see this. I haven't seen it.
And because and you know what, my little homies are educated about that now. You know, but it took something like that to happen to open the gates to our hood to find the in and outs of where our little homies are standing at what times, or the back route, or whatever the case is. He's giving a bird's eye view of the battle zone.
Yeah, he had his camera, whatever it was that he was using, a GoPro, I think, and he was in his bike just riding around some apartment complexes.
And the problem is like, if there was older homies in that video, it would have been different. But he caught the younger homies that are on Instagram. And, you know, I love my little homies, but sometimes a camera can captivate you and make you forget about what you're getting into, you know? And this dude behind that vlog, and there's other vlogs too, they take advantage of that, bro. And these youngsters see the camera and they see the popularity on Instagram, and they are not too smart about what's coming out of their mind, out of their mouth, you know. And
this is the IG or YouTube?
This is I think it's
IG
both.
and YouTube.
Yeah.
Both. Okay.
Yeah.
And not only is he doing that in my hood, but he's doing that in all hoods, bro.
Yep.
And we got to keep our people held responsible for that,
right?
Because at the end of the day, he's promoting gay violence.
It's too much of a exposing.
Yeah.
If you don't know about it, then you don't need to know about it, bro.
Okay.
Like, that's the way I see it, you know, because, and this kind of gets me a little bit upset because I seen that shit unraveling, and I seen it take one of my friends, I'm not going to say he was my friend because he was much younger than me, but they took my young homie out.
Someone from the neighborhood.
You know what I'm saying? My childhood friend's son.
It's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? I posted it on my Instagram, and my homegirl's like, "Damn, George, that was my son." And I'm like, "What?" And it enraged me, bro, because I saw the steps that was getting to what it got to.
You reached out for an interview?
And
I did, and he said he turned it down. Yeah.
And I
but I'm like, I'm
kind
of glad. I don't, you know.
Maybe that's one of many turn downs we've had.
Yeah, but that's okay, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a young cat too, though. I mean, and like he was mentioning, like he goes around different neighborhoods. Like he's been to different sections. So La Puente. Yeah. He's done Bassett.
I got to see this, I think. I mean, it is a little too much to put people up and expose them like that. You know,
I don't even know his name. I know what
I don't
you're
know his
talking
name
about,
either,
but I wouldn't
shoot me
even
the.
promote
Shoot me.
dude.
I want to see it.
email.
But
if he was listening now, what would you tell him?
I would tell him, shame on you, bro.
Okay.
Shame on you, my boy, because what you're doing is you're feeding your popularity and your viewers, but being that you ain't from nowhere,
right?
You don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But what's happening is you're opening gates to violence that has been suppressed a little bit
for some clicks and impressions
and for popularity, bro.
Right.
The bad thing about social media is all of our youngsters are trying to get to a standard where they're killing themselves to get there. Literally, like the numbers behind 10-year-old hangings is at its highest right now, and 10-year-old deaths. So like the percentages of 10-year-olds dying is by hanging themselves.
Wow.
Versus any illness or accidents or any of that.
Wow.
And that is because these kids are falling short of the standard that social media has for them. Therefore, they're taking it personal and they're killing themselves. Bro,
that's terrible.
I've had a dude on my Instagram send me a
10,
message. Yeah.
Right. And the difference.
Yeah.
And you got to turn it off, maybe. But
bro,
you could have turned off your life, you know?
I wanted to die alone, let alone if I had Instagram. If I had Instagram back then, I probably would have done it for sure.
Local. Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And the thing is like, our kids are trying to get to that standard, bro. And if they don't, like, I was gonna say, I had a dude hit me up on my Instagram. He's like, hey, man, I'm about to kill myself. I don't really care what you have to say. And I was like, well, hold on, bro. Like, why?
You didn't even hear me out yet. Yeah.
And I said, why, bro? And he's like, oh, because this girl I've been following, she's put on her Instagram that she wants nothing to do with me. And I'm like, God, and I wrote back to him like, are you on drugs, my boy? Like, are you sober right now? And that's the part, bro, because he wasn't. So the conversation kind of gets severed right there, because nothing I say is going to save you, carnal, because you're not in your right mind.
Yeah, no doubt.
And that's what I tell my little brother. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I asked if your parents were under the influence, because I've seen it, bro. My mom should have killed herself a long time ago. You know, pobrecita, bro. I the shit that she's done, and she shouldn't be here either, you know. And it was because of the influences, dog. The substances.
Yes.
I had I that shit saddens me, dog. Suicide saddens me, bro, because people just want to hug, dog.
Yeah. Or just somebody to say it's gonna be all right. I mean,
they need an outlet.
Just to talk to somebody.
They need an outlet.
Yeah.
You know, all of us want to be loved.
God, nah. I almost killed myself on top of Rose Hills, dog.
Damn.
And you know what? I needed a hug, God, man. My mom locked me up in a fucking mental institution at 10 years old, not because I was crazy, but because I needed a fucking hug.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I wasn't
that's all
we needed.
My boy, my roommate was in there for catching his sister's hair on fire while she was sleeping. That vato needed to be in there. I was in there because I was sad, my boy. My jefa wouldn't give me a hug, dog. Right. She was hugging the bottle.
And hurt people.
Again, I feel like back then, if we would have had some sort of outlets, you know, like there is now, our mentalities would be different.
I work with a beautiful organization called SEA.
Yeah,
bro. If we
Solidarity Richmond.
If we had SEA today when we were going through it, then, carnal, those people save lives, dog. Like, they provide a space to fucking positively influence these youngsters that are on the fence of falling off, dog.
That's pretty cool,
man.
Yeah, that's the type of work that I did for all those years. Like,
I agree with you, carnal. If we had resources like we do today, then man, there would be a lot.
Just
way more.
Even now, like, because like I've mentioned before, I was homeless at 15 after my dad passed away because my mom got involucrada like big time in drugs. So my escape route was to finally leave her because she moved to El Monte. Yeah. She had ended up leaving to El Monte, and I'm like, I ain't trying to live in El Monte. I ain't trying to live over there.
You wanted to get out of Ball Park, let alone going to Monte.
Have got out of there.
No, I know I wouldn't have. So I ended up homeless, and there was nowhere to go. Like, there was no outreach, there was no resources, and for a 15-year-old, where the fuck am I going to find that? You know?
Yeah.
At 15 years old?
You were right. There are no resources.
Nobody's trying to listen. They're just telling you to go back home.
Yeah.
Like, nobody.
That was the first
That's what I'm trying to get away from.
Yeah.
That was the first thing. I remember my uncle specifically telling me, una madre tienes una vez.
Yeah.
You only have a mother once. But why do I want to go to a mother that's not being motherly? Yeah. She's not nurturing. She's beating the shit out of me. She's on drugs. She's violent.
But back then, that was the thing.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody wanted to hear that.
No.
Like, that's your fault.
Yeah.
Pórtate bien entonces, you know?
Hazle caso a tu madre.
Yeah, shout out to all these organizations, bro. They're really making an impact.
That's really cool.
Operation Street Kids, SEA.
Are you going to do a lot of work with them when you start doing more of the pushing forward stuff?
Yeah. I have a real close contact with my friends at Operation Street Kids. They're kind of the ones that took me under their wing so I could launch my podcast, Breaking Bread, the podcast.
That's
cool.
right.
And,
that's right. I was going to ask you about that too.
And I was able to collab with the Department of Mental Health of LA County for Latino youth. And I ended up doing 10 shows. It's on YouTube today. It's on Breaking Bread, the podcast. And my whole thing with that was I wanted to prove to the Department of Mental Health that the culinary field is a therapeutic tool for mental health. Yeah. And I strongly believe that, bro, because it's helped me. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to get a little grant, and Operation Street Kids helped me put this together. So what I do is I bring a guest on the show, and I let them cook the dish that's significant to them. I have a co-host on the show. His name's Chef Jay-Z. He's from like the Maravilla community.
Oh, cool.
And
where it looks like, do we got a clip here? Is that Is that us right there?
Yeah,
is that you guys?
That was kind of like our pre-launch to the show.
Okay.
We did a little radio station.
Yeah, because I think what you do is more on the chef side, right?
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. And
That's
there's
cool.
video. I know that.
You know that guy?
That's Jojo.
Jojo.
Yeah, that's
I know
Big
for years.
Jojo. Him and Julie. They really. I told them my idea like 5 years ago, and they were intrigued in my idea, so they helped me push it forward, bro. Like without them, my show wouldn't have been on YouTube today. And so and so the point of it is I bring someone on, they create a dish that's significant to them, and they talk about where they were when this dish first came into their life.
Plug that YouTube channel again, and we want to make sure that we get it right.
It's Breaking Bread the podcast.
Breaking Bread the podcast.
Yeah, you could just scroll on it, or I think you could do like Breaking Bread the podcast / Jorge Urrea, my first and last name.
We'll also put that link in the bottom below,
Heck
like
yeah.
we do with most of the
Thank
videos
you.
on Tapped In Media, because we love promoting things like that. And you know, plus your story and everything that came with it, man.
Yeah.
This was
Thank you.
This was really inspirational on another end.
That.
We you know, Rojo does a very good job of like lining people up
Sure.
that we try to find. I mean, we both work together on things like
Well,
this.
I got to
but
give a
this was
shout out. I got to give a shout out to Renee Poaking, man, because he's the one that linked
That's
me
right.
up with him. So
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Poet
Renee-
King, he's an amazing photographer. He's a good friend of mine, and he hit me
Yeah.
up like, hey, I want you to link up with these dudes. They're pretty
Yeah,
cool.
he was at Taco Bell Good,
Yeah.
you know.
Javier, man, already.
And
Here
he's
we go.
like, he asked me, how's the podcast going? I told him, yeah, it's going good and everything. And then, you know, we're gonna interview Javier soon. And he's like, dude, you gotta interview my boy right here. I'm like, and I remember about Pushing Fruits LA. I had seen it, and then he told me about,
That's right.
and this is my boy. And he put me on the phone with him. I was like, what's up?
Yeah, I think
That's
I
how
was
we linked
driving.
up.
And I was like in
Yeah.
Bakersfield or some shit like
So I
that.
was like,
and when
yeah,
you,
so
he
dope.
told me about it, and I was like, oh, all right, yeah, I'm down. And then, I mean, who doesn't love frutas, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, come on, man. Like, I mean,
That's right.
you know, you pull over to the side no matter where. Like, I'm freaking, you know, I need some snack
Bro.
or whatever. I'm rolling to the side. I'm gonna go hook myself up. I'm gonna get, you know, that's it. And you know,
That's it.
I was
live in-
kind of hoping he would have
That's
brought
it.
out his kid and be like,
Yeah.
right, like,
I-
you want
Right
some
here
fruit?
with
then he sent the videos on you know, sent the Instagram stuff, and then I saw some of the YouTube stuff because he started forwarding
Right on.
hey, this, and I'm like,
Thank
oh,
you
nice.
guys. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for paying attention, bro.
Oh,
At the
hell
end of
yeah,
the day,
man.
like,
We dig this stuff.
I take that to heart. You know, people reach out to me and they're like, "Hey, man, he's like, I don't really tell you anything and blah blah." I've gotten a couple messages recently, and they're like, "We've been watching you for a few years and keep it up, bro. Like, there's not too many people like you." And
Well, I hope people get to see. Well, I hope people will see this interview and maybe take something from it, like especially, you know, with what you've gone through and what you've overcome and what you're doing now to, you know, do more,
Yeah.
even for the youth and the community overall. Like, you know, talking about not just Pushing Fruits LA, but also, you know, pushing forward and your podcast.
my book,
and,
Why Me, coming soon.
Oh, okay.
Is that
We got
for
a
real?
book coming
For
out.
real,
Oh, we got
for
a
real.
book? Yeah?
Yeah. I'm working on that.
Damn,
And it's
man.
gonna be. It's titled Why Me.
So, okay, we're going to add author to your resume.
Author, model,
The
actor,
bottom is model, backup
Let's see
dancer.
here.
Engineer.
Survivor, shot 5
Software
times.
engineer,
He's a
Spencer.
software engineer.
Software
IT
engineer.
Director. IT director. What? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I love a story like that. And that's how, I mean, we literally started Tapped In to find, and it started from our humble little podcast
Nice.
that was,
You know,
I
and,
mean,
it's funny because
miles away.
initially our podcast, specifically for this, like, how did they grow their but it was mainly, our focus was going to be more on like influencers
Sure.
and like
Right.
YouTubers.
Popularity.
And I'm like,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, you know what? This isn't it. This
That's
is not
right.
where we need to
Yeah.
go. I
did-
want to hear.
there's plenty
real
of stuff out there
stories.
for that.
I want
Yeah.
to hear
Yeah.
real stories, you know, especially the ones that can relate to ours
Yeah.
and still know that they made a success out of
And
themselves.
thank
you're
you
a
for
perfect
sharing
example.
your story with us, because we
welcome.
always tell
Thank
tell
you.
people thanks for sharing your story with us, because you don't.
I don't think I talked about it. So I stopped doing podcast interviews. I was telling you
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I did. I don't know, probably like 9 or 10. I've been on Soft White Underbelly, all those.
You've
And
been
you-
on Soft White Underbelly?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and you know
That's a
what?
good
like,
one.
It's all the same shit, bro.
Yeah.
I've been on
Were we
Good
the same shit, or were we a little bit
Nah,
different?
Nah, it's a little bit more.
Oh, nah.
Oh shit!
It just allowed me to talk about something other than being a fuck up. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
And that's what the podcasts are chasing. Like, people, did 20 years in prison, and You know, we all have like that. Those stories come a dime a dozen. I personally don't like talking about jail or prison and all that. I rather talk about being in a mental facility, you know, because you don't hear about that part.
No.
You know what I'm saying? That's kind of crazy.
I like talking about, I mean, I get the struggles and the ups and downs, but I also like the good story of like coming out doing better.
I hate to steal from Bill Handel, but it's
from him.
Literally the whole success from scratch thing. You know, and then like you said, we don't want to focus in on just like, oh, you were in prison. What was prison like? It's like we want to hear a little bit.
It comes in. It begins to be like a bragging, story. Like, I think on the 4-yard and the 180, and so was I. Or you're on the 3-yard. Like,
no,
we all fucked up. Like,
it's good to
shame on us.
It's good to tap into a little bit of it. Like, okay, that's why we asked. Like, you went to jail. You ended up homeless. But what got you into NASA? You know, that's what we want to hear.
Things like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of these podcasters don't go for that type of shit. You know what I mean? But we're different. But we grew up different. So we channel that type of stuff.
I get it. Like I get the war stories, but
but those are easy to talk about.
That's why I didn't want that on my podcast. I didn't want to follow the whole you make a spread, blah blah blah, but because those stories are kind of watered down already. We all have been either to prison or to jail, or we know someone that's been to prison and to jail, and we know the story. Like, and I'm not knocking none of my homies for this, but on a podcast level, I didn't want that for my show.
That's cool.
And,
that makes
and
sense.
it's feedment to be able to not want that on my show. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my show, my boy.
Yeah.
And if I don't want that, then I'm not gonna have that.
That's right.
I'm gonna have positive shit, bro. And
I have one of my cousins tell me. I don't mean to interrupt on that one, but my primo told me one time, and he's also a gang member, right? And he goes, "Hey, primo." He's all, I saw your podcast. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. And I was like, thanks, man. I appreciate that. He was like, I subbed everything. And I'm like, hell yeah, man. He's cool as fuck, right? And we party together all the time. And, I love that guy. Shout out Eric. And he goes, hey, I want you to bring more, like homies on, bro. Like some stories like that. And I'm like, you know what? Because I love that idea. Like, I'm all about it. Trust me. Because we collaborate, him and I, or Daniel and I always collaborate on what are we going to do? Like, what
what's
should
the
we do
next move?
What do we got to do? Like to make it intriguing, right? We talk about all the time. And we have brought this up where we're like, maybe we should bring someone in from the hood and do shit like that. But not all the time. It doesn't register well, maybe we didn't even know that Pushin Fruits would bring out this type of conversation, which is way more organic and natural than would have been like, let's just go find the next homie that was fucking around. You know what I mean? Like, it's just more to it.
No, that's why when Renee linked me up with him, and I started researching and seeing some of the stuff, like, fuck yeah. This is a great fucking story.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah,
and
cool.
I try my hardest.
Hell yeah. I hope you keep trying it, man.
I have a thing that I like, never be chafa. Like, you can't hide chafa, like, I won't. Like, I like that. I'm just bringing
such an old school word too.
Something feed it to life, like there's enough negativity out there.
Yeah.
I can be negative, don't get me wrong, but I strive to be positive, and if I'm getting in a rut, like, I know my trigger. Yeah. So I'll go help like a homeless person, or I'll do a breakfast outreach for the Skid Row or something, because I know where I'm going mentally. Like, my plane is starting to veer off track.
Back to your gratitude, man.
And so sometimes you gotta help a little to get a little help, for sure. And that's my get back, bro. Like,
love it.
I ain't trying to hurt nobody, I'm trying to help, and if anybody needs help,
all right, George,
I'm right here.
You're gonna have to plug it all for us, man, because there was a lot of things that we talked about today. So I need you to tell us your Instagram. We need your YouTube. You got a lot going on. Yes. So we want to make sure we get it right. And we
your modeling agency.
Yeah.
I'm my own manager.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The 7K to freaking do a dance and merengue with Bad Bunny, bro. You got to go give us all the Instagram, the YouTube stuff, so that everybody that watches this with us on Tapped In, we want to make sure that they follow you, man.
Yeah, for sure. Instagram, I have a few Instagram handles. My personal one is _CeezeUpRun. So that's _CEEZ_UP_1.
Nice.
That's where I put like a lot of my motivational stuff, modeling stuff, like day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
I try to keep it pretty motivational and positive for the most part.
Cool.
And then I got my Pushin Fruits _LA. That's my business page where I do, my private events and bookings and stuff. That's Pushin PUSHIN FRUITS _LA.
Pushin Fruits LA.
And then I got the Breaking Bread podcast. So that's
doing
breaking
more work than us.
Yeah, that's breaking _bread _ the podcast or something.
And that's on
something
YouTube
like that.
now, right?
It's on Instagram and YouTube.
Instagram and YouTube.
That's it, man.
Love it.
If you guys want to see my past interviews or whatever I got going on, usually you can type in my first and last name on YouTube, and a whole slew of stuff.
Just pop right
my
up.
ugly face come up there.
Oh no, that's cool, man.
And,
We think that all the time too, like for ourselves.
That's it, bro.
And then the HRLS, right?
Yeah, Hood Raised.
Is that your brand?
No, it's a good friend of mine's. They're from East LA. We just, they helped me with one of my first outreaches in my hood.
Oh, cool.
And it's pretty cool to see what I've done influence them to do that in their hood. And they have their clothing company called Hood Raised Lifestyle. I consider myself hood raised, and I carry that pretty respectfully. Like I don't half-ass that. I feel like if you're from a hood, you gotta represent it and hold yourself to that standard as much as you can. With this social media stuff, I believe it can dilute people's soul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they tend to drop themselves to a level where they shouldn't be that low. You know what I'm saying? So I always like to tell homies and my fellow friends and stuff, like, keep yourself on a high pedestal, bro, because that's where you should be. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way you act, the way you give, the way you present yourself, bro. And in general, like, be at the top.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So nothing chafa, bro. Like, don't be a chafa. Mondays Mondays coming around the corner. Perfect day to stop being a chafa.
All right.
It's all love, bro. It's all love.
That's dope.
I love my city, the city of El Monte. I appreciate you guys for having me on your show.
Man, we appreciate you for coming on. We're Tapped In Media.
Thank you.
This is Rojo. That's Andy
right.
Q over there. I'm Russ. Thank you
That's
to
right.
everybody that always checks out our videos. And this interview was super enlightening. Another one.
Thank you.
All right. Getting to hang out with George from Pushin Fruits LA. And keep us updated on that Pushing Forward LA. Or Pushing Forward.
Yeah, we'd definitely like to do it. Once you get that going.
We would love to follow up.
That's my next project. My book and really working on my nonprofit is my next project.
Oh, and the book. I forgot. He added author to the resume just recently.
Throw it in our face.
It's been
you guys
in
pretty
the works.
much you guys pretty much suck here. You guys are terrible. I mean, you guys are cool, but this is all great.
You ain't doing what I'm doing.
Nah, we're all good. We're all cool. We're all cool. And you know what? All we're here to do is to motivate others to be better. And that's
God willing, man.
You might not be female today, but try to be female tomorrow.
I like that, brother. Thanks everybody for coming around. And Andy, big shout out to Andy.
Don't stop now. We got one quote. You got your quote because I got my quote.
You got yours. Oh, that's right. That's right. Go.
All right. In the beginning of my life was a mess, but with age, we made it a message.
That's right.
Hey,
I learned that one while being at the Torch program many years ago. You know what I mean? They had
hell yeah.
We're gonna keep that one right there.
I like you had a quote. Let's see.
That's right.
Nope, I don't. But we're gonna take Andy's. I didn't take my quote.
No, we're doing his.
We're taking with his.
Yes.
That we're gonna close it with that. That was great, Andy.
That's right.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you for the
You guys
message,
take care
bro.
out there. Thanks, and head on over to the next video. Check it out now, right there.
Peace.